So I was given responsibility to address all of you. All of you know our biotechnology group of NIOT is very active in generating new technologies. Even though it's actually a small group in big engineering institution, they did a considerable impact and transfer the technology to the industry. I think that yesterday we signed one new product actually for the industry, bioremediation of green technology of marine oil oil spill remediation using the marine hydrocarbons bacteria developed by NIOT. This is going to be actually going to be used for oil spill control. One company who's actually very popular in doing this work has taken this technology yesterday. Of course, we do use the CSIR entity NRDC for transferring our technology to the industry. Coming to the cage cultures, I think the NIOT have been doing a lot of cage cultures in 4 places in Andamans and then 3 places in the mainland. We have been developing technologies for quite good time. And then we did many experiments because India has a large coastline, but very less fish available now at the coastline because of the extensive fishing. Now we need to do a lot of these technologies has to come up to increase the fish catch and then give them because there are a lot of population stays there, and then we need to give them develop these technologies for them so that people actually fishermen will have a better life. So with this small introduction, actually, I will go back to the main event. And I myself is actually a panel member. So the remaining part of the technology part, what we are doing in NIOT, I'll cover there. Thank you very much. Dharani, you can take over from now.
Now, I would like to call our chief guest to give some words. Before that, I would like to introduce our chief guest to the August gathering. Dr. Virendra M. Tiwari obtained his postgraduate in geophysics from Banaras Hindu University. And he took scientific career in CSIR National Geophysical Research Institute after receiving PhD in geophysics from NGRI BHU. He has worked as postdoctoral researcher in IPGB Paris and Lagos CNE Torlos for France, and as a visiting scientist Geomark and Kiel Germany, and also in CU Boulder USA. He has a lot of academic merits and excellence. He got a lot of scholarship as well as awards, Young Scientist Awards, INSA Scientist Award, and Christian Gold Medal by from National Mineral, also National Mineral Award by Ministry of Mines, Government of India, and many other awards. He is also member of National Science Science Academy, National Academy of Sciences, and Indian Academy of Sciences, and Telangana Academy of Sciences. So he is also a recipient of SERB JC Bose Fellowship 2022. So he has a lot of publications on his credit, and also Sarah has done excellent work in various R&D project of groundwater and oil and mineral industries in India. With this introduction, I welcome Tiwari sir for giving his address. Chief Guest.
Thank you very much for very elaborate introduction. I must confess first that I am not the guest today, our chief guest, but part of this organization, as Dr. Tata Sudhakar Rao had mentioned, that this event is a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav event being organized by Ministry of Earth Sciences and Ministry of Science and Technology. And we, being part of this, we are host, guest, organizer, and also a connect between our science and bringing science to industry and bringing industrialists to our science. Today's event, as had already been briefed, commemorate our 75 years journey of independent India, and think that whatever we have achieved in science and technology, how can that be upscaled with the help of industry, and also talk to industry to see are there some problems with science and technologies of these two ministries can address for the betterment of the life of the people in India and large humanity. We very much are aware that the resources on the planet Earth, particularly over the continents, are shrinking, are not going to meet the requirement of very fast growing population and the requirements because of our lifestyles. And therefore, we have to look beyond the continents, realizing the fact Ministry of Earth Sciences had embarked on a very mega project of deep sea mission, where we are looking to harness the resources, living and non-living resources of the oceans, which are to be made in a sustainable manner and can also be replenished from time to time based on the changes occurring in the ocean. We are very much aware since the old days of our civilization that marine environment is a dynamic environment which is having a most valuable natural resources and provide the majority of food in the form of fish, shellfish, seaweed, and many other marine living resources. In addition, to provide the food, it also has a large potential of bringing the medicinal and therapeutic values. As mentioned by Tata Sudhakar ji, that NIOT, Ministry of Earth Sciences, had several technologies developed towards understanding of the ocean, towards knowing the ocean resources, and also exploiting the ocean resources in a sustainable way. This is one among the sustainable and also the replenishable resources of the ocean, which has a lot of socio-economic value, particularly for the countries like India, which has a large coastline. We are aware that there are several efforts. Yes, please.
Hello.
Would you please switch off your mic?
நீங்க அவங்களுக்கே கூப்பிடுங்கப்பா, ஏன்னா நீங்க என்கிட்ட சொல்லிட்டு அப்புறம் அவங்க வந்து அவங்களுக்கே கூப்பிட்டு பேசுங்க. இப்ப அவங்க ஆபீஸ்ல தான் இருக்காங்க.
Hello.
இருப்பாங்க.
Hello, whoever is talking, please. Our chief guest is giving presentations. Please, others mute your mic, please.
Among several technologies, cage culture technology developed by NIOT has a vast potential of getting it upscaled in a different form at the different places in the country. We know that cage culture uses existing water resources, would be ponds, rivers, estuaries, and open ocean. But here, an IoT primary work is utilizing the open ocean. And one of the area where it has been mentioned is the Andaman Sea. But many other areas where such kind of the cage culture, fish farming can be done. And since this now technology is quite old and proven through its implementation at different places, it's right time that we connect with the industry, small entrepreneurs, the upcoming entrepreneurs, and also the industries which can get this kind of intervention done in the several parts of our coastal regions. So it's very relevant to have such kind of event where we have academicians, where we have the marine biotechnologists, where we have people who have been mandated to do the technological research in the ocean under the auspices of Ministry of Earth Sciences, and the industry which is very much on board so that we can take this mission forward for the benefit of all of us. I am very pleased and honored to be part of this deliberation because it will have a game changer possibility of socio-economic importance, and I look forward for having the foundation of this deliberation and also possibilities of how our science and technological interventions, developments can get connected to industry plan so that we meet the objectives of the large mission which Ministry of Earth Sciences has launched, and also country is looking forward very eagerly. So I wish every best for the successful deliberations and feel very happy that we all are on board discussing very important issues. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. And once again, I join Tata Sudhakar to welcome all of you for this deliberation.
Sir, thank you very much for your enlightening words of connecting industry and institute for fulfilling the mission of our Ministry of Earth Sciences. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to call Dr. G. Dharani for giving a plenary lecture. Before that, I would like to thank our Tata Sudhakar sir, group at NIOT Ocean Electronics and Ocean Observation System for welcoming the gathering, and also our chief guest for taking pain to joining and addressing in spite of his busy schedule. Sir has joined. Thank you, sir, for your kind words also. And now I would like to call Dr. Dharani for giving the plenary lecture on this particular topic, particularly this coastal, our open sea cage culture of marine fin fishes.
Thank you, Dr. Vineet. I take this opportunity to thank all the stalwarts, leaders, and pioneers in the cage culture technology. And as a part of NIOT, being an engineering institute, what kind of technology that we have developed for supporting the cage culture, offshore cage culture particularly, to promote the cage culture in the open oceans. We have conducted a number of experiments, of course, jointly with all our stakeholders, as well as the participating institute like CMFRI, SIBA, and RDCA. We will share some of our work, which is in with cage culture in the form of presentations. I'll make this presentation short so that we'll allow others to have an interactions. So we actually, before we go into this, we have three sessions. That is an industrial session and user session, that is fisherman and hatchery, then and technical sessions of scientific input. So the scientific input is required from the panel members to proceed with the cage culture technology and propagate the cage culture technology in a large scale in offshore systems. With this, I will just start a small presentation. I will share my presentations. Vineet, am I?
Yeah, visible.
And it
you make it full screen.
It is moving.
Yes, it is moving.
1 minute again, we have to check the full screen. Sometime may not move.
Yeah, it is coming. It has come.
It is moving now.
Yes.
Okay, this all the words must be knowing this, but again to recap this, already we have our aquatic production is about 177.8 million metric ton of fishes. Which is destined for human consumption, and then average global consumption is about 16.7 kg. And this is the projected amount which is required for 16.7 kg per capita consumption. But though only few countries are doing this, India is very much less. And this is a small information statistics from the FAO. The production capture fisheries is leveled since 1890s. In 2020, it is expected to 8.2 billion populations. An addition of 20.27 million tons is required by 2030 to maintain the current per capita consumptions. In spite of we are growing very less in per capita consumptions. And aquaculture is being the fast growing sectors. Almost 50% of the global food production is coming from the aquaculture sectors. And since 1970, aquaculture sector maintained about 8.7% average growth and 6.5% growth per year when compared with globe as well as excluding China. The world projection is somewhere about 9 billion in 2050, and the capture fisheries, of course, we can see it is coming to almost standard of which is above the maximum level of capture we have reached. But the projection for culture is still increasing steeply. So this shows that there is an FAO has recommended there is a very good opportunity in Southeast Asian countries, particularly India, Indonesia, and other few countries which have the potential aquaculture to grow more. And so when comparing with this, the Indian coastal scenario is about 8,118 kilometers with exclusive economic zone of 2.02 million square kilometers. Our total fish production of current year is 14.6 million metric ton, and capture fisheries 3.7, and fish eating populations about 72.6 crore. Per capita consumption is about 6.49 when compared with 16 international standards. And marine fishing villages approximately 3,200. Our total fishing craft is about 2,38,000. And the Marine Product Export Authority export quantity is 1.2 metric ton. And maritime states we have 9.4. And the capture fisheries, India ranked third, 5.9%, and India, of course, China is the first out of the top 7 fishing countries as per Sophia 2019. The culture fisheries, India ranked second, that is 14.6 million metric tons. So again, the China is the first out of the top 10 aquaculture producing countries. So by all the things, so we are in the race of production of aquaculture to a very large scale. And for development of cage culture technology, there are three important components of components which has to be addressed. There are biological components, which is dealing with the culture of the fish because of handling live, and there is an engineering solutions required for all, like from the cage to the harvesting to the feeding, monitoring, harvesting, and of course the socioeconomics. All these three goes hands in hand. And for any culture, site selection of this major site selection, the major environmental parameters is recommended by the FAO and other standard organizations. So the essential parameter of the culture structure is depth, sea surface temperature, significant wavelength, significant wave height, and wind speed. The optimum parameters given, this is optimum parameter recommended threshold is 10, depth is about 10 to 100 meter. That means the minimum depth can be 10 and the maximum can be 100. Beyond that, the economics of the mooring will be slightly unviable. So that this SOFIA has recommended about 10 to 100 meter depth for mooring as such now. And the sea surface current is somewhere 10 to 100 centimeter per 100 centimeters acceptable to the cage culture within the limit, and sea surface or sea significant wavelength is less than 3 meter, and wind speed is also less than 5 meters recommended. The essential parameters for growth of aquatic species is the main parameters of the TSM, which is about sea surface this temperature of the surface, that is 25 to 50 degrees, 50 degrees centigrade. 24 to 30 degree, and salinity is 25 to 37, and DO is greater than 5. Chlorophyll value 0.5 to 5. This was what the recommended parameters. It is recommended by FAO as well as other international fishing organizations for going for a cage culture technology. And the cost, there is another one very important parameters given as cost-effective areas. Within the radius of 47 kilometers, the culture site should be within the radius of 47 kilometers from the potential marketing ground as well as the potential beaches, potential landing ground, that is jetties and harbors. And of course, with all the input of different institutes and with the data, with the physical data which is existing with the Ministry of Earth Sciences and sister institutes, we have developed, and NIOT has drawn an potential site with geospatial mapping, and we have selected with all 11 different parameters to exclude this mapping, and we have identified and potential suitable site, highly suitable sites of 76,000 and odd square kilometer to have a potential for cage culture. These sites has to be verified on the physical basis for the carrying capacity before going for the cage culture. And this is the state-wise quantification of suitable area for cage culture. It's giving the mean, that is the maximum available areas in Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. These are the places which have the large areas required, and the technical suitables were arrived based on depth. The main parameters like depth, current, wave height, TSS, SST, salinity, D1, chlorophyll, nitrate, phosphate, and based on this parameters, there is a huge availability area of availability is 900. That is 14.9% of the total EEZ is sufficient to do the cage culture initiative for time being. So the geospatial analysis, these are the main parameters that was being taken up. This is depth, sea surface temperature, significant wave height, wind speed, and the essential parameters for seaweed also has been included inside this. Over this, then all the top layers has been loaded, like national parks, sanctuaries, harbors, ports, navigation routes, and all this criteria has been included on this analysis, so that the user conflict is reduced and the potential sites are selected based on this. Once the site has been selected, there is a first step to go the on-site verification and go for a carrying capacity studies and actual studies in the field. Once we have done, once the potential site has been done, the next point comes for a designing of the cages. There are a variety of cages like fixing, floating, submersible, and semi-submersible, semi-submerged. And out of the fixed and floating, there are rotating and non-rotating, and there is a huge options of playing with cages in different parts. In general, there are cages are classified into 4 types. That is gravity cages, which relies on only buoyancy, which is suspended in the water. These are prone to the water current. And there are anchor tension cages, which hold the shape. And there are self-tension cage and supporting cages which will retain the structure without any deformation. There are rigid cages which will support the complete structure in any point of time, including current and waves. So to test this concept, initially we have selected 3 locations, that is protected locations of Olekuda and Rameshwaram, and an open sea coast at Kottachatram and Kavali in Andhra Pradesh, and semi-protected bay in Andaman, that is in North Bay. And these are the locations, depth and sea surface temperatures and significant wavelength and wind speed of this 3 selected locations. So to do this cage culture, initially NIOT has taken up all the existing
I've gone to the canteen.
All the models of available models in international scenario, and we have come across, we have optimized the cage of 9-meter diameter floating cages, keeping in mind the Indian infrastructure, which considering there is a less number of jetties and harbors to take the large material. So considering the small boats and the beach landing crafts available, and manpower without crane, without much infrastructure, when it can be operated by a man. So we have optimized a cage which can be operated from a beach landing craft, and the net and other things can be changed without much infrastructure. We standardized and we optimized to a cage that is of 9-meter diameter. The cage designs complete cage designs has been made in this NIOT. We're using various design analysis like Orflux and simulations. And these are the parameters like current, tidal amplitude, wind speed, and wave height, which is collected from all these 3 points, has been put inside this the modeling, and the cages has been modeled for suiting this environment. And of course, this is the cage modeling of a cage using Orflux. And this cage of 9-meter diameter has been optimized for this. And initially, the first set of cages has been imported from Turkey. And this cages has been deployed in all the 4 locations. This is a first set of cages which is designed to withstand the coastal conditions of Indian Sea, and was deployed with multi-point mooring systems, so to withstand high wave conditions and high current conditions. So this is the configuration of the multi-point mooring, which can be which can be moved in a cluster of 2, 4, 8 up to 16 cages, and this are some of the components which is ingredient for the fabrication of cages, like HDP pipes, brackets, styrofoams, buoys. And with this components and cage can be fabricated anywhere by HDP pipe using the butt welding technique, and these are the technical details of a stanchion, buoy, and floating pipe and handrails. For every design of cage, according to the cage diameter, the pipe diameter will go on increase, because there is a bending radius diameter for the cage, for the pipe, according to the diameter of the pipes. So this is the pipe required for different circumference of cages. If it is 210 diameter for 10 to 40 meter cages, and it goes on 225 and up to 100 meter circumference, you can make on 355 mm cage, 350 mm diameter cages. Pipes. And there are a variety of nets. Particularly, these nets are initially exported from abroad, and this is in polyethylene knotless nets with antifouling coating for long time, with copper impregnated antifouling coating for long time fouling free activities. And this net size are varying from the small from 8 mm to 28 mm according to the 72 mm according to the growth of fishes. And predator nets are also required when there is some predatory activities prone in this area. And these are some of the mooring components, like a bridle rope, grid rope, anchor ropes of different diameters, polypropylene rope of 20 mm diameter with a breaking strength of 8.13, and which is used for grid mooring, so that the grid is moved in a very stable structure for a long time. And the grid ropes and is of polypropylene, and anchor rope is of 48 mm to withstand any sea conditions. And this and this are moved using different things. When going for mooring, there are different kind of moorings. Mooring components, that's in anchoring systems, that is pile anchor, dead weight anchor, and mooring anchors. According to the availability of the infrastructure and according to the time, according to the money budget of these things, the mooring structures can be, the mooring component, that means an anchoring component, can be changed. Pile anchors are very costly, and dead weight anchors are normally used in concrete blocks up to this one. We used for Samson anchors, which is very useful for sandy beaches as well as rocky beaches. And this is the kind of Samson cage mooring anchors that we use. It is in Samson type, which is of 250 kg in weight with a thickness of 25 mm. We have a complete detail. And this has a component of anchors, studded chain, collectors, bow shackles, thimbles, and oval rings and collectors, which is the component of the mooring systems. And these are the components of the floating systems, like pipes of different diameter, 210 mm to 110 mm diameter in handrails, and the stanchions of different sizes according to the cage diameter, and floating buoys. And all these components earlier was being imported from Turkey for the first time, and later on, based on our inputs, the cage, all these components has been modified and been totally indigenously made in the country from an entrepreneur from a company from Gujarat. So it is now available in India itself, all the cage components of different diameter pipes as well as different diameter stanchions and different height stanchions required for various types of environmentals. Now standardized, the company is ready to, Sangir Plastic is ready to extrude or to manufacture any kind of materials, and they have off-the-shelf material to start any kind of cage culture program now. So for going for deployment, these cages can be deployed from the shore. Normally, the grid moorings are prepared in the shore, and the grids has been dragged to the sea from the shore. It's a very easy technique, and this is a components of a grid mooring techniques, multi-point grid mooring techniques. All the buoys and the grids are prepared on the shore, and it was drawn to the sea by locally available boats. And these are the installations at Kottachatram, Olekuda, and North Bay, which has in Kottachatram it has 8 cages, and in Olekuda it has 4 cages, in Andaman also 4 cages, in Tuklipalam also it is 6 cages. And the first culture of fish started with capture-based aquaculture. Because the availability of the seed is very less in the country. We have one commercial scale hatchery as well as a research scale hatchery. The major producers are only SEMA-FRI, SIBA, and RGCA. With that, we have also initiated capture-based cage culture. Must be knowing this culture, hatchery-based production of seeds, as well as capture-based culture is also one of the standard methods. As a part of this, we attempted to do the cage culture operation based on capture-based aquaculture. Mandapam is one of the region which has a huge number of milkfish breeding center, which has been transported to the country up to Kerala and Andhra Pradesh for culture. So milkfish from these regions has been collected and initiated as a capture-based cage culture. In addition to this, other fishes like parrotfish and rabbit fish also being cultured, because those fishes are coming from as a part of bycatch in the Rameshwaram and Tuticorin region, which they have a potential for fattening and growing to larger sizes up to market size. We have done channels using these cages. A milkfish seed of 5 to 8 gram were reared up to 770 gram with a time of 260 days. Sorry, 200 years. And the other one important parameters, which is the seed size. The seed size for cage culture of fishes, the fish required to have a certain size, which is suitable for rearing in the cages. The approximate size is somewhere 12 to 15 centimeter length of, say, 20 to 40 gram size is required to start with the open sea cage cultures. So in spite of having very small nursery facilities, producing that kind of seeds is quite difficult as of now. So we attempted a culture of nurturing of the sea bass in the sea cage Small nursery cages of 2-meter diameter has been designed and has been deployed inside the cages of the open sea cages itself. And with this, the nursery rearing up to 2 gram to 30 gram was 95% survival was done within the cage culture. This is one of the very promising things, so that we can avoid the prolonged growth of nursery rearing in the shore as well as the transportation of large seeds. So this has to be standardized in large scale for other species for developing of this cage culture techniques. So open sea cage culture, we have demonstrated at least 3 major culture species. So CMFRI as well as RGC as well as SIBA was kind enough, and they are working. We are working with them, and we have an currently operating MOU with both the research institutes to do collaborative research in this cage culture, and all the seeds has been supplied by them by RGC or CMFRI SIBA. And cage culture nursery from nursery rearing of 11 gram to 448 gram and 190 days was done in Wolakuda. This is for seabass. And the average growth rate of 0.5 kg with 60% survival and 1.8 FCR was achieved in this seabass. Seabass being one of the not a true marine species, the growth rate was almost in all our experiments we have 0.5, maximum 0.7 kg in a period of 8 to 9 months. So open sea cage culture of cobia has been attempted in 2 places, in Rameshwaram as well as in Kottachatram. This was one of the very candidate species for cage culture. The average body weight attained was 4 kg in 8 months from initial stocking site of 30 grams. And it has a very high growth performance of 15.4 gram per day in cobia. And approximately 3 tons of cobia was harvested and sold for 9 lakhs at a farm gate price of 325. This is one of the very interesting character of cobia, of the fast growth rate and high farm gate price. This is very attractive to fishermen, and they are very interested to grow with this. Based on this, this demonstrations with the NIOT as well as CMFR in Mandapam, number of fishermen has taken up, and they are doing by their own with the technical input of NIOT as well as CMFR. And the cobia has been also, culture has been demonstrated with the fisheries, in collaboration with the fisheries in Tuplipadam in 6 cages. And the fish is obtained about 2.7 kg in 10 months, resulting in an average growth rate of 7.2 gram per day in Kottachatram. This is slightly less when compared with the fish growth rate at Rameshwaram, and harvested 3 tons of cobia. And the training program also conducted for rearing, for fabrication of cage and rearing of the fishes in the both places. Of course, as a part of the collaborative program, NIOT also has interacted with the SIBA in helping them to grow fishes in the lagoons and backwaters. Training program also has been conducted in various places like Pamanji, Wolaikuda, as well as Venangapetta, as well as Kerala, Kollam, for fabrication, for site selection survey, manufacturing, fabrication of cages, deployment cages, as well as for growing of this fish from this seeds to grow cultures. And this is one of the example of the economics of the cobia cage culture at Wolaikuda. This is cultured purely by the Fishermen's Self-Help Society. The cage and all the systems has been provided by NIOT Chennai, and they did all the operations from seed to feed and the daily maintenance and operation. This is the cost of the seed, what they bought for 3,000 seeds, and altogether they had a total they had a harvest of cost of 16 lakhs and 28,000, and the total net profit was 6 lakhs for that one cycle in 2 cages. So by this kind of actual economics, what they themselves made, they are very much interested. There are huge number of interested people for growing cobia in open sea cages. Now the number of seeds available is less for growing. That is one of the bottleneck. And these are the experimental results what we got. We have tested with all these 3 species: milkfish, parrotfish, sea bass, pampano, and cobia. The average growth rate of all these species has been given. When compared to survival, the parrotfish was one of the very sturdy species which survived. But when compared with the species which have the hatchery technology, The Rakicentron cobia, that is in cobia, that is Rakicentron canadum, has 74% of survival, and disease resistance is good, and the farm grade price is also good. So this appears to be a very potential and candidate species for further cage culture operations. And this are the cost estimates required for fabrication of cages, right from the procurement of material. For all the components have been included for a total of 8 sets of the material. And considering the rough oceans, unlike other nations, so our coasts are slightly rough and open to sea, and NIOT with other engineering group, particularly the ocean electronic groups, we are developing submersible cage systems and submersible as well as semi-submersible cages and feeding systems which can support the cage culture, which can support the submersible cage systems. And this is the current development of as a rigid sphere type cages, which has an hydraulic as well as pneumatic ascending and descending control systems, and it has also a feeding systems and monitoring systems, automatic feeding systems to feed to the deeper water, as well as a monitoring system to monitor the fishes. And this is one of the very new patented technology. It is a technology center patent. It is a water ejector based subsea feeder which can feed without much air droplets and which agitation inside the sea. Up to 7-meter depth has been developed, and this is going to be used for the deep sea cages, submersible cages. And we have also prepared a rough requirement for production of 1 million metric ton to demonstrate at one place as an promotion of cage culture things. These are the candidate species identified: cobia, milkfish, sea bass, and pompano parrotfish. And suppose how many cages are required to produce this 1 million metric ton. We have made this as an estimate as a proposal, and this proposal has been given to Government of India. When culturing the fishes, the cage maintenance is one of the issue, which is though fish cages are with anti-fouling technology and other things, but still fouling and other important other parameters is there. So those things has to be monitored and has to be cleaned every day, because this is a routine activity. And the major challenges in the cage culture technology of need for commercial scale production of cage components that is happening, and lack of landing facility, experts and technical manpower is always there, because we have a less number of jetties which can handle large boats and large cages, and there are few hatcheries which will have a lot of pressure to supply, and inadequate fish health management measures still we have. We are currently also there are cage culture is happening in Rameshwaram, Semafara, as well as NIOT cages are operation. There are frequency of disease coming. As this culture grows, the disease prevalence also will increase. There should be a complete protocol for health management, and non-available high quality carnivorous marine finfish feed is one of the bottleneck inside this. Of course, and the next is the poaching of fish and multi-user conflict with fishermen. Thus, that is also prevailing in the coastal seas, and the need for policy and policing policies allocate suitable land for the industry to come inside. And there is a non-available insurance policies of cage systems and products, but these are coming under the bill of the Fisheries Ministry, so this will be addressed, I believe. And this is a short video of the cage culture demonstrations and in 3 different locations. Because of the HDP pipe plasticity, it can be transported at any point, and that can be fabricated of any size in the cages on the site itself. And it is very simple technology, and it can be taught in a matter of a week. So any farmer, fisherman can do by themselves. Both the things, capture-based as well as culture-based aquaculture, has been tested with the 3 culture-based species and 2 capture-based species. Yes, Vinny?
It's over, Dharni.
Yeah, yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm trying to unshare.
Thank you, Dr. Dharani, for giving an elaborative lecture on the plenary lecture on the activities of our MBT on cage culture, Marine Biotechnology Group NIOT on cage culture activities. Now this we can go for next session. If any doubt on this particular lecture or something like that, on the way itself, while doing this one itself, we are going to discuss a lot of things. During that time, we can explain the things. Now we are slightly 10 minutes late for our next session. So next session, I think Dr. Dilip, can you take over?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very good morning to all dignitaries. And I thank Vinit sir for handing over me this session. So as we know that we are celebrating 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So under that we are conducting this event, ICN 69. So now we are in the first, we have completed inaugural session. We are in the first session, industrial interaction. So in this session, I would like to invite Captain Ajit Kamat, who is heading the Marine Division, Sangir Plastic. He has very good experience in developing all these plastic wares, and he will be sharing his thoughts, what he is thinking, how to we can go forward in developing the open sea cage culture activity. So, Ajit sir, can you hear?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm here.
Sir, you can switch on your video, sir. Yes, sir. So you can share your views, how we can proceed further, how we can develop this. Please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Durney has already given a short introduction of how we got introduced into the cage culture. It was very good that we, as a manufacturer of thermoplastic for last 30 years, we got introduced to this, and then we took a step into making the cage components. Now, since the time we have interacted with NIOT, we have further developed other components which will put us into sea. Now, I have seen that the cage components that were developed by us for NIOT is doing well in Rameshwaram, in the 4 cages that have been deployed for sea bass grow out. So to advance this technology which we were introduced to, we have further developed another component which is for sea, and we have done same analysis like Dr. Durney has shown with OrcaFlex and to comply with Norwegian standards, which that's the only standard which tells us about what components are required to meet sea conditions. We do not have our own standards. So we have successfully completed compliance to that standards, our cage component, and that is on manufacturing stage now, which is more or less what the whole world is doing in the cage component part. Uh, with this, we have for NIT we have done for C in 9K meters successfully. Same we have done for in inland waters. We have developed, we have put 16-meter dia cages. It is not so demanding a water dynamic condition, but it's still performing very well there. Um, in order to move to that size to see, we need to have some analysis in hand for the components as well as the mooring components before we can jump into sea. So we as a company are ready in that part where we can help or get along with the people who are aquaculturists or who want to do sea culture to step out into sea and put these components out to sea. Uh, Further developments are still going on, like auto feeders and conveyance systems. So these also we are developing. And I saw that NIOT is also in developing the submersible cages. So that was in our next list where we can develop components for submersible cages, which will help us round the year round the year culture on our coastline, which is, as Dr. Durny said, is a little bit rough than anywhere else in the world. So uh, if that happens, then we will be able to have floating submersible cages ready to be given to the industry, or from the industry to the culturists. So the only uh, bottleneck here is, as Dr. Durny said, we do not have a very strong mariculture policy, which needs to be strengthened very fast if we have to move towards increasing tonnage of fish tonnage at sea. The inland culture is doing fine, but for mariculture we need a strong policy, else we will not be able to take a giant leap into this open sea culture. From our side, as I said, we are developing along with NIOT and by ourselves components that can withstand all sea conditions on our coast, and we will be ready when the mariculture policy is on very easy to implement. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the core issue. As you rightly said, the bottleneck is marine culture policy, and this, I think, government of India is taking steps to improve this and bring it. And you also said this marine standards, whenever we are deploying this cases, we are following the marine standards. So thank you, sir, for sharing your views. Now I would like to invite Ramana, sir. He is the managing partner, RVO and Company, Bangalore. So Ramana, sir, please.
Morning to all the delegates. Thank you, Dharni sir, for a good presentation. And we have been actively involved in designing and deploying cages from the past 10 years in the sea, marine sector as well as freshwater sector. We've been working with CMFRA to understand cage culture better. We've also designed GI cages and also HDB cages, and the cage, the most important, one of the most important part of the cage is the cage nets, which are procured from Garware Technical Fibers, which has a world-class facility right in our country. Now, Dr. Dharani was telling us about the cage nets, which are coated with copper-based chemicals for avoiding fouling. Now, Garware has got a new technology wherein the anti-fouling properties are built into the fiber itself, and the nets are made which are anti-fouling resistant. So, like Dr. Dharani rightfully said, gave us all the bottlenecks, which are all the fishermen issues. The most important is the seed. Not seed availability is a big issue here. And one more thing, I was looking at Dr. Dharani's presentation, wherein he was highlighting the FCR, about 5.7 FCR. I think the fishermen were using trash fish. So they got the very high FCR. So I would like to suggest that, in a pellet-based feed, if it's used, the FCR will definitely come down, and they'll get better growth and better survival, and also less disease and all these problems can be avoided. So apart from that, I think most of the points are covered here by Dr. Dharani. Very well given presentation, and Ajit also has covered a lot of points.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you, Ramna sir, for giving your valuable suggestion and suggesting. I think this Garwar is, we are also taking materials from them, and really it is nice. And thank you, sir, for your viewpoint. Now I would like to invite Kula sir. I think Kula sir is highly experienced, and he is Chief Executive Officer for Kula Aqua Consultant Private Limited. Hatchery designing and all, he is the leading person in country as well as abroad also. So, sir, I request you to kindly share your views, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Now, thank you for inviting me for this August session. See, as Dharani was indicating, Dr. Dharani indicated that we require really to increase 27 million tons of fish in the next by 2030. So this is a very big figure. Even if you take the India's share to be almost 1/10 of it, we have to talk about at least 3 million tons we need to produce from India. The 3 million tons, when you're talking about producing even 50 tons of fish from each cage, it runs to almost lakhs of cages farming to be developed around India in the future. But what is preventing us from the development? Basically, it is the question of the backward to start the cage culture, the assurance on the availability of seed in the right quantity, in the right quality, at the right time is a question mark. I was going through the production figures indicated by Dr. Dharani sir, wherein we were trying to do the production based on whatever seeds were available, we were stocking and we were producing. There was no optimization in terms of the maximum capacity utilization of the cages have not been done, because whatever seeds were available, we try to put in and then we try to produce. So this has to change in a different way, that we need to focus more on optimizing the production quantities also. If I'm designed to produce 30 kg per cubic meter, I have to do the stocking accordingly. I need to have the availability of seeds accordingly. So how do we solve the problem? Probably when the shrimp industry started, the Ministry of Commerce jumped into the picture, started this task park, to develop the seed program, and the industry developed. Now, marine kingfish, there is nobody from the government side interested in doing such an activity. Probably I had the opportunity to visit Andamans to select the site for the hatchery for NAOT. I found the place to be very interesting, and it's got a lot of potential for development in the future. And Costi is working on development of a hatchery. I really appreciate their initiatives. And there is a lot of potential for cage development around the Andaman waters as of now. So I feel that parallel to Ministry of Commerce focusing on shrimp, now Ministry of Earth Sciences, under which NIOT is spearheading into the cage culture activity, the ministry should come forward and pump in a lot of funds, especially to the Andaman sector, to develop not only the hatchery technology, but also in a large way the nursery technology, and then probably the broodstock development program also. Fortunately, they have a lot of lands available. They have a lot of lands. It is not the lands are available under a Costi. We have surveyed the land, but I feel sincerely that at least if a lot of money has to be pumped into this sector through the Ministry of Earth Sciences, through NIOT, where the Maritech wing of Andamans, to develop the projects. Because now, if the entry size of the fish into the cage is at 30 grams, you will have a faster growth. You take it at 2.5 grams, 3 grams, start putting it in nursery cages. By the time they grow, all the other cages are waiting for it. There is no sequence we cannot follow the sequence. Better to take it. We need to have a nursery development, onshore nursery development program, whereby we grow them to the biggest possible size of 30 to 40 grams, with a reference to sea bass I'm talking about, which I'm used to. And then take it and then put it into the cage. It grows faster. So elsewhere in the salmon industry, they're advancing to a very high level. Earlier, the entry stage was 30 grams. Now changed it to 100 grams. Now people are talking about the entry size of the fish into the cages is 1 kilo. It is growing to 1 kilo. So up to 1 kg, they are introducing RA system and growing the salmon. After 1 kg, it is being taken to the cages. So they are reducing the grow-out period in the cages. Similar attempt has to be made. First is availability of the seed is the first and foremost. Second is how to improve upon the production period, how to reduce the production period or maximize the production within the available period. So we need to work on that. If you don't produce anything more than 1 to 1.5 kgs of sea bass, you can't sell it in the market economically. You cannot do a filleting. So many issues are there. Growing the fish less than 1 kilo, especially sea bass, it will not give us fetch us a good value. So my observation is basically we need to go for a large scale nursery development, large scale hatchery development, large scale broodstock development program in the country. And most suitable place I find is Andamans, and incidentally Acosti, the NAOT has got a big center already available, so they should utilize that chances and try to grow. They should spearhead the cage culture revolution in India. So this is my observation. And about the leasing policies, other people have already touched upon it. And the mainland, there is always a conflict between the fisherman and the private entrepreneur, even if they want to enter into the activity. But in the island situation in Andamans, I think the fishermen are very cooperative. private entrepreneurs also can take up the activity without much hassle. Only thing is the licensing policy has to be clearly indicated so that a lot of entrepreneurs from the mainland will readily go and then start this activity. With these few words, I'll conclude my information about what I felt about the industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for nicely bringing out the points which is really required for developing the open sea cage culture activity, because seed is one of the major area where we need to focus. And as you rightly said, when we are going for deployment of cages, we should have seed availability around the clock. So thank you very much, sir, for your kind suggestions. Now I would like to request Dr. Suresh. He is the aquatic nutritionist and he is leading Aqua World Feed Company. Dr. Suresh, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I take this golden opportunity to meet you all in this webinar hosted by NIOT. I thank you, our director, sir, NIOT, and I thank Dharani, sir, and I thank you, Mr. Dilip Kumar, sir, and Santana Kumar, sir, who has given a great opportunity to talk about our feed formulations with working with NIOT. And I also like to thank Dr. Nasser, sir, from CMFRI, who has been giving a lot of developments in our feed formulation for past few years. And this is Dr. Suresh on behalf of Aqua World and Aquaculture Specialties. And this is a new feed mill startup in the year 2018. And we are working with new formulated feeds for sea bass. And then for we have a tie-up with the Mariculture feeds from Japan. They are supplying one of the best quality feeds to Australian lettuce calcarifer barramundi. And our specialization is we have 3 segment of feeds called as weaning stage, and for nursery stage, and for grower stage. We are in making the fresh feed. We are incorporating the fresh feed for formulating all our marine fin fishes, in which we can make a maximum of high protein percentage from 60% of maximum and 40% of minimum, which supports the weaning stage. And but basically the weaning stage, the marine fin fishes need more of protein content for their fast development. And in the nursery stage, they also have the adequate nutrition level for the whole growth. And ground actually we just fix around for 45% and we make the feed for them. And all our feeds are customized, and we can make the feed as more product specific depending upon the species, for groupers or pattern fish or for channels. It can be customized depending upon the client requirement. And currently we are exporting to 4 countries in the Mediterranean and in Latin America. And if you have any doubts regarding the feed formulation or feed presentation, you can just ping me up anytime. And thank you for this golden opportunity given by NIOT. And I take the best wishes ahead for all your projects going ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh, sir, for nicely stating the requirement in feed sector. So we thank you for your kind suggestions, and we go forward. And I would like to call Mr. Jia Bhatt, who is the Deputy Manager, Garware Technical Fibers from Pune. Mr. Jia Bhatt, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Dharani. Thank you, Dr. Dilip, for such a nice presentation. I would like to share my view and insight about this cage culture, what is happening, and how Garware is looking from the market. That what is our expectation, and how we are dealing to other countries like Norway. Salmon industry is a big industry. We are working with them and learning a lot of things from them. and what we are lacking in our country. And today, straightforward, I wanted to share some things. What are the bottleneck right now we are facing? So we have seen. I'm associated with Garware past 12 years. 2010, I joined this company when there was nothing. When this cage culture was supposed to start with, we were having some understanding with CMFRI, like how this cage culture is performing, what are the species like cobia, sea bass, pampano, and all. And slowly we understand last 13 years, it is sort of, for us, it is a sort of, you can say, there is no growth in this industry because the bottleneck was the dimension of cage, which I am clearly straightforward saying this 6-meter dia and 6x4x4, whatever we are right now doing, it is good. We have copying the trend of this Southeast Asian countries like China, Vietnam, and Indonesia, Malaysia, this tilapia and basa, this pangasius, which is not our own indigenous species, which are exotic species like what we are promoting right now in inland. But for marine, we have cobia, we have pampano, we have sea bass. So for those species, I believe that the dimension is the lacking. This is the clear output coming from the industry. I believe this industry is 10 times powerful than this shrimp industry. Shrimp industry, if you see, we are almost number 3 in the world, and how fast it has grown last 1 decade or 2 decades. So now we can see this industry is at top level. So this mariculture also has got 10 times powerful this thing, future for this if we take it very proper way. Like today, we have tried and tested some like 16-meter dia. Captain Ajit was talking about the Odisha Sambalpur project. We invited these delegates from Odisha to our factory, and after seeing that, after we showed the differences and feasibility of the projects, like how it is working, like 6x4, and if we compare with the 16-meter dia, what is the difference? So they immediately took the decision and started this 16-meter dia cages in Odisha. Then today, again, if you see in Chhattisgarh, they are trying now 20x20x8. This is 3,000 cubic meters, almost 30 cages equivalent to their one, and which is expecting the production of some 20 to 25 tons of IMC, which is unbelievable. No government accepted till today that IMC can be grown in the cages. Only pangasius, only tilapia, only other, whatever the species are exotic species. No indigenous focus on that. So they are doing now. You see the Chhattisgarh, this Bilaspur and other places, they have tried this and they are doing it very well. So that is also myth is broken now, means IMC can be grown in cages also as well. You have to give room for the fish. You have to give the space for the fish. And right now, I can assure you, I believe that this market is ready. We have everything. Infrastructure is there. Nets are there. We have everything like structure. We have mooring. We have nets, all top class world facility nets are there. And whatever the bracket system is there, we have. And rest of the thing what we are bothered about, like seed, feed also we have. Seed, yes, seed is a problem, and we have some other harvesting, maybe that also we can find some solutions. Like the shrimp industry, we have learned a lot of things we can take from there, and we can also, we have internal technology transfer which can be taken from the other countries, and that can be implemented in our country also. So like that, we have to now get into action and start doing something different. So slowly we have to increase at least 20-meter dia, and which can be taken us to another level within no time. I believe that within 1 or 2 years it will be changed. Like I can see, I have the confidence in the Odisha market, and I have the confidence in the Chhattisgarh market. Rest of the India, if you see this 6x4x4, this pangasius and tilapia cages, they are not doing anything. Only 20% people I can see that they are serious. They are the investors. Rest all are wasting the time. 80% in Maharashtra, they are not doing any culture. They are selling out their cages. And see, same thing is happening in the marine also right now. I'm very blunt in this, but I don't have whatever is there. I have to tell. I have to tell to the market what is happening now. So I think that government, they are putting in the full focus on that change of that mariculture policy and design, whatever that is suitable. We also work. We can give the inputs on what are the best designs right now we can go for, and at least the future is very bright. We should come up with some new things, innovative things. And automation will come slowly, but manually it can be managed by 20-meter also. There's no issue with that. This is from my side what I wanted to translate. That was my view from the Garware. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Jia sir, for focusing the need of time, that is integration of industry and government sector. We can put effort together and we can do what country is requiring. How
Right.
foreign countries doing. Similarly, we can also integrate our industry and government sector and we can do much better. So thank you for your kind suggestion, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Pulkit Agarwal, who is the partner and he has done a lot of deployment. Das and Kumars. Mr. Pulkit.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, some problem with my. Very good morning to everybody. My name is Pulkit Agarwal. I'm partner to Dasan Kumars. We are a company based from Varanasi in UP. We have been in cage culture for last 15 years now, and we've been deploying these cages all across the country, be it inland and marine. We have done a lot of projects for various states like Odisha, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, and some parts of Kerala. We are happily associated with NIT and CMFRI, which they are helping us and guidance on technical part for the deployment. We have learned a lot from them, and we have been doing this work from last many years now. We have got in-house cage components, which for various diameters that we can develop. As our industry people was talking about, that we need to move more on the increasing the diameter of the cage from 6 meter to we have to go to 9 or 12, 15, 16. We also have deployed 16-meter dia cages. The performance of the growth of the cage fish is quite good as compared we have seen in 6-meter dia cages. Another thing which I would like to point out that ultimately it is. Hello. I'm audible. So ultimately, what is happening is we are deploying cages for the government, but there is no technical support from our esteemed institutes like NIT, CMFRI. If they can come on board and work parallelly with the government, definitely the deployment will be a success. The growth will be better. Ensuring that the growth and the farmers perform better. So if the government and this institutes work together, will be definitely boost our morale, and definitely the farmers will perform better. Another thing which I would like to say that, as Dr. Dharni rightly mentioned, various components which is being made, and innovative techniques have been developed. If we are being involved as an industry associate of something like a technology transfer or making a commercial scale production, then we are ready to come up with them. So this kind of dialogue, if that happens, definitely there'll be definitely a bigger scope of expansion of cage culture in marine sector. And this is what I believe. And I thank Dr. Dharni sir for giving us an opportunity to be part of the session. I thank Dr. Dilip and Dr. Dilip sir for connecting his iConnect. And we have been working with Dr. Abdul Nasser for a long time now, so he's been helping us in a big way. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pulkit Agarwal. And whatever suggestion you have given, that is, we are government sector, we are already working to integrate with the private sector so that we can meet the demand of public. So whatever research we are doing, it is finally going for the people only. So we are working for people, and definitely we will take up all the suggestions. And now I would like to thank all the speakers in this industrial interaction first session. I thank all speakers for giving their valuable suggestions, and we will look forward to get associated, and we will take whatever suggestion you have given. So thank you very much. And now I would like to hand over next session to my colleague, Dr. J. Santana Kumar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip. Good morning to all delegates. I would like to invite all participants to the session of Hatchery and the Fishermen Association interaction. This session will deliver the experiences of participants directly involving in the field of fisherman community and cage culture activities. Initially, I would like to call Mr. M. Ilango. He is former member of Legislative Assembly, Pondicherry. He is highly interactive with the Fisherman Society. He is always concentrating on the socio-economic development of fishermen from his region. I would like to kindly invite Mr. Ilango to deliver his valuable talk.
You are
Not audible.
Not
Sir, your mic is muted. Please.
Now you are hearing?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, very good. This is we got this the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Health Science, and the NIOT is doing a wonderful job in this cage culture thing. I know about that for so many years. Even I have written letters to the Government of India, Ministry of Health Science, and the NIOT to do this cage culture through the country. In that manner, I have known about the Valakuna project and even the project which is being done by a private here in Nagapattu, Vilupuram district, right, Kanchipuram district. Anyhow, I am very happy to be among enough. This cage culture will definitely help the production of the fisheries, fish production. I request all of you to do this cage culture throughout the country in all the 13 coastal states, including the Union Territory, during Pondicherry. But only my request as a leader of the national level community organization, with my experience to all over the 13 coastal states. Nowadays, the people, the traditional fishing community people are very much affected by the so many things happening in the sea. Major thing is the pollution made by the industrial pollution and other pollutions are very much spoiling the life and lifestyle of the fishing community. Their livelihood is very much affected. Because of that, a lot of the species which was there for many years before, now it's not available. Therefore, the Ministry of Health Science and the Science and Technology should take care about the environment of the sea for the purpose of two things. One is the fish will be the major food production for the people living in the world, including our country, as well as the livelihood for the traditional fishing community. And our Government of India, under the able leadership of our Narendra Modi, most all the government ministries and the organizations, they are very much interested in developing various aspects, that to particularly the fisheries should be developed in such a manner. Now we are getting 50,000 crores of rupees of the foreign exchange. It should be developed at least to the tune of 3 lakhs of crores of rupees as the foreign exchange. For that purpose, fisheries development is very much needed. But only one thing, this cage culture will be the best thing for the increase of the production. This cage culture should be done throughout the country in the all the 13 coastal states. But my humble request is this should be permitted. This should be given license to the traditional fishing community of the country. Yes, these are all the people so doesn't have any other livelihood activity. They're or traditionally they are doing this fishing only as their profession, as their livelihood. Therefore, you should give the license and all the infrastructure developments, all the funding support, all the subsidized things and everything should be the traditional fishing community at the first level. After that, we can involve some other people also. But immediately, if you ask for the other entrepreneurs to enter into the sea will be much more spoiled, and the livelihood activities of the traditional fishing community will be very much, they will be affected. And therefore, my humble request as a national level leader of the fishing community organization, I would like to request you. I'm very happy to be with you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my views in this.
Sir, thank you very much for your valuable suggestions. You are directly touching a very important thing, that is pollution is reducing that fish population, fish catch near the coastal region. And you are also mentioning the expansion of cage culture throughout the country, and that too traditional fishermen to get initial benefit from expansion of cage culture activity for their socio-economic development. And thank you very much for your kind suggestions, sir. So next, after Mr. Ilango, we will move to Dr. A. Nagesh Babu, President of Fishermen Association, Andhra Pradesh. He is highly motivated person with new ideas for development of fishermen community. So I kindly invite Dr. A. Nagesh Babu to deliver his talk. So Dr. A. Nagesh Babu not responding. So we are moving to next speaker, Mr. H.S. Gajanana. He is fish farming entrepreneur. He is fish farming entrepreneur from Kumla, Karnataka region. At present, NIOT is involving with him for site selection for establishment of cage culture activity in his region. I kindly invite Mr. H.S. Gajanana to deliver his talk.
So good afternoon to everybody. Hope I am audible.
Sir, you can switch on your camera, sir.
My camera, 1 minute. Camera. Sir, I think I have some problem with.
Okay, sir, no problem. No
okay,
problem.
I'll able to.
Yes.
Talk in audio only. I think there is some problem. I'll try to do that, but meanwhile, I'll be speaking. Yeah, the thing is that we are from Kumuta, from the Karnataka, and we started a sea bass hatchery, that is Canaries Aquaculture LLP, which is in coastal of Karnataka, Kumuta. So we have a technical partnership with SIBA for nursery, as well as complete hatchery. We have a technical partnership with SIBA, and we are selling right now up to 4 inches SIBA seeds to the farmers across Kerala to Gujarat. And we have been, other than that, I am also belong to the fisherman community. So I have some fishermen association where we are in the discussion with NIOT for sea cages and all. So I think it is the platform I have to express what is my observation. Relatively, I'm a very junior to you all. So I get into this business just 1.5 years back. But because we are into automation, basically we have an engineering firm. We are into automation, and we are into plastics. We are into engineering. We are into robotics. Some multiple businesses what I'm running in Bangalore. So what I understood that technology, what we are getting into, I mean, regarding the sea cages and all, I had an opportunity to discuss one of the Israeli entrepreneur who visited India recently. I think he must have visited NIOT also. He was talking about some of the submarine cages, which is most successful in Israel coast. But I don't find such technologies are really happening in India. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm the overboard. I'm talking something which is maybe not really concerned. But I feel that technology-wise, we need to upgrade ourselves. I think as Garvare was mentioning, now the time of automation. So we all need to get into the more automation by we can make it the more productivity in the cage culture. So I've seen, I mean, though the cages are successful in some of the places, but we get a news. I mean, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm getting into the cage culture. So because that is for a community improvement. So sometimes if I do something and if I lose the production, whatever it is, that will be discouraging for the community members. I mean, those people are very innocent. They think everything is going to be successful. So we have to mitigate the risk and minimize it. If you don't minimize the risk and you try with the cage culture and you try to put the people in that, they will lose the interest if they lose it. So what I'm trying to tell, NIOT should help us with the maximum possible what is happening in the market today, like in Israel or development countries, whatever the cage culture is going on, they should try to bring the technology from them, maybe association, collaboration, whatever you call. So I think that is the way, I feel it is the way ahead for everyone in the aquaculture. Even in I'm talking about as someone mentioned some time back, now finfish culture is definitely going to be a very interesting industry for next 10-15 years. So we all are going to, a lot of more players also going to get into that. So definitely it's going to be a competitive also, and we all need to go along with the technology. That's what I am suggesting to the NIOT or anybody, the Farmers Association or whoever it is. You all have to look into that, where we are heading, not just the traditional things what you are supposed to continue. So, and one more thing, in the culture, I think I was discussing closely with Dr. Dharani, and so we have discussed that the cobia is lately successful. I think it is successful in Rameshwaram and other areas. That's what they told in the sea cage culture. So what I'm telling about, please do something about the cobia, because cobia can give the better yield than sea bass or any other finfish. So what I request the NIOT or CFF, CMFRI or whoever is there, because I'm not able to see somebody, but anyway, I know, I'm sure that all of you are here. So you please look into those technology things, develop a cobia, a proper technology, and I think the sea cage with the cobia should give us a better yield. And Garware companies and all, they can really work on the automation side and try to propose the best possible cage culture in India. So with this, I think I've gone little overboard, but still whatever I supposed to tell, I told. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for giving me opportunity to talk to you.
Sir, thank you very much for your valuable talk. It is good that from fisherman community person delivering his experiences in fish culture field. So that is good, sir. You are telling culture management is good for better profit. Okay.
Yeah,
So
otherwise people lose the interest.
yes, sir. NIOT is further it is involving in development of submersible cage development. It is during rough season also. It is this culture aspect is highly helpful. So, without interacting with any foreign company, indigenously NIOT is developing the technology. Once we are standardizing the technology, it will be delivered to all enterprises. Yes, sir. And Another one thing is Cobia is highly successful. It is getting
Yeah.
same for RGC is currently is upgrading their Cobia seed production. So your license are all awesome.
Nagesh Babu is on the line. Please invite him.
Yeah, Namaskar. I am Dr. Nagesh. I am the one of the member of previously. I am former member of NIOT. The thing is now I am along with Fisheries Minister, UP Fisheries Minister. हमारा पास.
Yes, sir. You can
सर
proceed,
अभी
sir.
हम हैचरी में है. मेरा सजेशंस है. Actually, Cobia is very successful, but hatchery is not available seed. So even Kirubagaran sir also they came to our Guduru farm. We are harvested through NIOT. It is very good yield. Magar regarding of seed, so many people still in Andhra Pradesh, so many people they are asking for seed, but there is no hatchery technology, nothing else. So पहले है हम hatchery को develop करना है.
Okay.
को देना है. इसका बाद हम केज कल्चर 100% सक्सेस होता है. हाँ. हेलो.
या
Yes, sir. Proceed, sir.
आपने सही बोला सर, सही बोला.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
इसके लिए.
You can continue, sir.
हाँ.
Nagesh sir, please continue, sir. Finished.
अब बात करो सर.
Yes.
Sir,
Good
Nagesh sir, you can
morning.
switch on. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Dilip.
कैसे हैं?
Fine, sir. Please continue, sir.
बस हमारा एक ही इच्छा लेके आए कि उत्तर प्रदेश को भी फिशरीज हब बनाओ. आई लाइक ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश. ठीक है. Just in the sector of foreign and sector of species of fishery. उत्तर प्रदेश को भी हब बनाओ. हेलो.
Yes, sir.
हेलो.
Proceed, sir. Audible, sir.
Dilip,
हाँ.
take care.
तो मेरे डिप्टी डायरेक्टर से बात करो. आप इसमें आप भी डॉक्टर हो, ये भी डॉक्टर.
सर आप अपना सजेशन दीजिए, हम लोग उस डायरेक्शन में काम करेंगे सर. आप सजेशन दीजिए सर.
Oh, please. Yeah, I'm accompanying Honorable Minister, sir.
Yes.
I am at Fisheries UP. What you want to know? Yeah, please let me know what comments you need from our side. Please repeat your question, sir. I was not online.
Please give your suggestion. We will take up this your suggestions and we will follow up.
Suggestions regarding actually on a study tour, Honorable Minister sir want to study the development of fisheries in Andhra Pradesh and adjoining areas, especially the saline areas and freshwater as well. For saline, we are here right now in NSR hatcheries, and then we will proceed to Bhimavaram for inland and freshwater fisheries. And we will just look after and we will just pick it out some things which can be replicated in Uttar Pradesh and how the fisheries development in Uttar Pradesh could be boosted up and speed and pace could be maintained over there, and how we can work in partnership with developed states like Andhra Pradesh or Telangana or other states. This is the motive of our study tour here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
From a NIOT side, whatever technological support is required, NIOT will take up and definitely will come forward. Basically, NIOT.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are open for all technologies. We are looking.
Sir, next
Yeah,
we
sir,
move.
I am Dr. Nagesh. Sorry. Morning itself, I am along with Fisheries Minister. हमारा
ये प्रोजेक्ट को देख रहे हैं.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Javier is there. Kindly respond, sir. Javier, CA का.
Yes, sir.
So morning itself we are in hatchery. So this is a very big hatchery, Srinidhi hatchery, and
I really doubt that how does it matters with today's discussion.
Okay, sir.
We're
Sir,
talking about
hatchery
open
side, I
from
can
cage
help you
culture, and
anything
somebody is
else.
intervening and
Last
talking about some
24
hatchery
years I am
visits
doing
and
in
farm visits.
hatchery seed
Let's be
production.
more productive
So
and not waste our time.
कोबिया को कुछ आप लोग डेवलप किया तो हमारा पास एंटरप्रेन्योर है. We will invest the hatchery के लिए हम invest करेगा. Whatever it may be. Even we are ready to give almost 3-4 crores we will invest. No problem. कोबिया के लिए.
Thank you, sir, for your kind suggestion. We will definitely work in that direction, and we will collaborate. Sir.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your valuable session, sir. Now we move to Mr. Ritvik Amir. He is fish farming entrepreneur from West Bengal. He is interacting to NIOT for site selection at Diga, West Bengal, and Chidatapu in Andaman Island. I would like to call him to deliver his talk.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dilip Kumar, Dr. Dharni, and Director NIOT for giving me a chance to say about open sea cage culture. Actually, I have visited many places in India for cage culture, just like Tamil Nadu, Andaman, Odisha. Just recently, I go to Odisha in Balasore segment. Is it? Just we have got a information at Balasore that they produce around 25 ton Indian pompano in a turbid water, just like in West Bengal, Bay of Bengal, we have a very turbid water throughout the year, and in this condition, Indian pompano grows very well, and they are selling the Indian pompano at around average 275 price, 225 to up to 325 is the price, and it is very encouraging for just like me and just like any entrepreneur to enter in this segment. I have noted that India coastal area is very much different in water. We have different type of species, just like sea bass, Indian pompano. This can be grows in turbid water, but some state government they just reject that in their water bodies any mariculture cannot grow. This should be breakdown through various meeting by government sector through their directorate or secretariat that fish can be grows in turbid water. And in present scenario, we have seen that CFRI, SIVA, RGCA is ready to produce seed, but is it at the right time or right quantity available? This is the most valuable question. And second thing is feed is available, grow well, or SIBA is doing well, but not up to mark we needed. Structure and molding expertise is very good for NIOT expertise is there, but some more thing we need to upgrade, just like insurance sector. If insurance sector can't back up, we can't grow much. And one more suggestion for me that for fishermen of coastal area, they are using their trash fish for dry fish production. Alternatively, if they can't use the trash fish for cage culture, they can earn very much like alternative source of income they can grow. And they are sometimes they are doing barriers for open sea cage culture in many areas. They are bracketing our opportunities. If we convince them that their low value fish can have a big value for them, they can be interested, and any entrepreneur from various states will be encouraged. And we have set a series of structure just GL Bhatt just Garuare said that we need 9-meter diameter cages or more diameter cages. It is very useful that 6-meter diameter cages can reduce the growth of fishes. If we give them proper space, the growth rate can be increased. I see it in our hatcheries in our pond. And one more thing, market linkage is needed for entrepreneur or fish farmer. Produce large quantity of fishes and they can't sell it. Export facilities should be introduced at farm gate or marine zone production site for increasing the interest for fishermen. And one more thing, some small port, teeny port or landing station should be available at mariculture zone for day-to-day work. It is very much very difficult to continue the work. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable suggestion on seed, feed, and proper marketing for the development of cage culture activities in India. Thank you very much for your suggestions. Next, I would like to call highly experienced person, Mr. Santana Krishnan, CEO of Marine Technologies, Chennai. He is introducing new mariculture technologies in Indian aquaculture industry. Sir would like to give adequate suggestions to expand the cage culture activities in a sustainable way.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Kripakaran for spearheading this cage culture activity with NIOT a few years back. Okay, so thanks to Dr. Kripakaran for starting this initiatives. That's number one. Number two, the meeting started off very well with Dr. Dharani's wonderful presentations on opportunities in India for especially on aquaculture and how cage culture can form an integral part of the overall aquaculture. So very important points which he has shown. First thing is, he has categorically discussed about the geospatial analysis and mapping. This is very, very important because before we get into cage culture, first we need to study whether coastal waters are suitable for cages. Whether because you are the people who know about the ocean currents, you know about the ocean floor, you know about the ocean movements. So you are the right person to tell us which location in the whole of India, whether we can have properly cages. That's number one. Having said that, we also have to differentiate our concept into nearshore cage and offshore cage. We cannot standardize as a cage culture because nearshore cages, their design, their operational parameters are totally different from offshore cages design and offshore cage parameters, operational parameters. So including your cage design and your cage mooring and all that. So From now onwards, when we speak about, we should be very, very categorical in talking about, are we talking about nearshore cages or offshore cages? Why I'm saying this is, most of our experiments done in India are with 6-meter diameter cage. I think these types of toy cage experiments has to be dispensed of. We should not encourage any more experiments doing open ocean cage with 6 meters diameter. Nobody in the world does a 6-meter cage. Only in India we are doing all these experiments. We should not do that. Open ocean cages are minimum should be 16 meters diameter. And you need to have a battery of cages so that your cost of operation of the cages comes down, especially transporting feed and bringing back the harvest materials. But for a nearshore cages, you can go for smaller cages like a 6-meter or a 9-meter diameter cages where small stakeholders can operate with 1 cage or 2 cage or smaller establishments. That I would like to say that. And NAOT's large expertise on understanding ocean, you have to come in a right way of suggesting the cost-effective best mooring technology, which has been already covered by Dr. Dharani. This is going to be very, very helpful for the farmers and entrepreneurs who venture into these types of cages. That having said that, few things like what Ms. Ramana suggested about anti-fouling. He said there are alternatives that come on anti-fouling cages and all that. While we are discussing about the formative stages of this industry, I would say that we should also look into the certification requirements of installing the cages. The very important is the environmental impact assessment and environmental management plans. And biosecurity requirements, these are very much important in installing any cages. Because let us have a proper plan, then we start, because after somebody puts up a cage, they will be under criticism by some so-called environmentalists saying that, no, these people have put up a cage and spoiling the environment. We should not do that. It should be a proper one. And like Mr. Ritvik Amir suggested, landing centers is a very, very important, because otherwise there will be a lot of conflicts with the poor fishermen because their livelihood is on the coastal areas. So you have to have address this particular issue where the landing centers are there so that the co-sharing of space is adequately addressed. This has to be, so we have to take a lot of social consensus in designing a large-scale policies also. Mr. Kulasegaran suggested about seeds. Of course, when you have the cage, we need to adequately know the cages are what to put inside and what to harvest. That is very important. So thanks to Dr. Vineet, for the extensive work and which is trying to do in Ancosti with lot of limitations and restrictions, trying to do some sort of a cage culture project there. And now we wish him success for his hatchery to come up in Andaman also, because this will support really the cage culture in Andaman areas. You cannot depend on transporting fry from mainland to Andaman because the cost becomes expensive there also. So if you want to be very successful in island, this hatchet should be very, very useful. Listening to Mr. Zia Bhatt, Garware, I think it's a pride of India. You go to Norway, you go to Mediterranean, you go to Saudi Arabia, everybody talks about Garware nets. So we have the world's best net supplier. What should we be looking for? Let us not do any sort of R&Ds and they'll be able to help us a lot. Having said all these things are there, the most important point is where I feel the NIOT can play a role is bringing in proper policy and guidelines. As of now, there is no policy and guidance available with the Government of India and coastal waters leasing policy. This is very, very important. Otherwise, we keep talking about cage potential in India. If I want to put a cage, can I put a cage? I don't know whom to get a permission from. So when we do a geospatial analysis and mapping, we also identify areas suitable for cage culture. So you can put cage only in that particular area. So that area becomes identified and approved by the government as a aqua zonation area for cages. So that makes the things easier. So let us make it a point to tell the government they have to come with proper policy and guidelines addressing technical requirements, addressing social requirements, addressing land use requirements, water use requirements, so many other things. So you may identify a very proper suitable cage area, but that should not conflict with the fishermen's fishing routes. Ultimately, you blame the fishermen then. What they will, poor fellows, what they will do? You put a cage in their fishing route, what they will do? So we have to have a comprehensive policy addressing every requirement. With that, I would say that wish you every best for this initiative. and we look forward to see the success in due to come. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Sir, one more in this regarding insurance policy, do we have any response?
Yeah, currently there is no insurance policy available, but insurance agencies are very much interested. See, even for aquaculture, so long insurance policy was not available, but now various underwriters have come forward and they're given the policy. See, what the insurance want is, they want to see the transparency in what you are trying to do. Okay, if we have few projects, we can bring the insurance agency, talk to them, and they'll structure the policy accordingly, and that is possible. Insurance agencies have started looking at aquaculture as a very potential source. We can start looking at it and we can do that. No issues about it. But as of now, there is no policy available. Yeah. Like Mr. Ramana lost his huge number of cages many years back in the West Coast during the cyclone. So if we have a proper policy, we can address to the insurance agencies. We can take it up.
Sir,
any other
thanks
questions?
for your kind suggestions on our expansion of offshore cages with larger cages and cost-effective cage system, and also touching all the important points for expansion of open sea cage culture activities. Thank you very much, sir. After sir, we will call Mr. Ajit Kumar. He is cage farmer, Olaikuda, Tamil Nadu. He is directly involved in cage culture. Currently, he is doing cage culture activity in Olaikuda region. He will express his experiences in cage culture, his cage culture activity. Mr. Ajit?
I am here.
Yes, Ajit, நீங்க தமிழ்ல பேசுங்க Ajit.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
First of all,
கேக்குதுங்க.
okay. First of all, our group name is Fisherman Alternately Livelihood in Rameshwaram, Olaikuda, in Tamil Nadu. I belong to the fisherman family. I'm an engineering graduate. I am better to speak in Tamil. It is very brief and explain the cage culture. So, if you permission, please.
Please proceed, Mr.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. இப்போ பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எங்களோட கேஜ் கல்ச்சரில் வந்து நாங்கள் நிறைய வந்து ப்ராப்ளங்களை நிறைய ஃபேஸ் பண்ண மாதிரி இருக்கு. இதில் வந்து எங்களுக்கு நிறைய ப்ராஃபிட்ஸ் பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் ஏகப்பட்டது இருக்கு. இதை நாங்கள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து இதில் நாங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுற ப்ராப்ளம்னு பார்த்துக்கிட்டிங்கன்னா எங்களுக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எடுத்தோன்னே வந்து எங்களுக்கு சீடு தான் மெயின் பிரச்சனை. இந்த சீடில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எங்களுக்கு வந்து எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் சீடு, அதாவது இந்த கோபியா ஹை சர்வைவல் ரேட், அப்புறம் வந்து க்ரோத் எல்லாமே இருக்கிறதுனால நாங்கள் அதை எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் பண்ணுறோம். பட் அது எங்களுக்கு ப்ராப்பராக எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கிறது இல்லை. அதுக்கடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் நாங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுற ப்ராப்ளம் வந்து இப்போ வந்து மீனுக்கு ஏற்படுற நோயை வந்து நாங்கள் வந்து கண்டறிஞ்சு அதை தடுக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே எங்களோட டெத் ரேட் வந்து ரொம்ப அதிகமாக போயிடுது. ஸோ வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து அதோட இறப்பு அதிகமாக இருக்கனால எங்களுக்கு ப்ராஃபிட்டும் முறையாக வந்து கிடைக்க மாட்டேங்குது. அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் என்ன இது ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறோம்னா, இந்த வளர்ப்பு மீன்களை வந்து முறையாக வந்து நாங்கள் மார்க்கெட் பண்ணுறதுல வந்து அதாவது வந்து கம்பேர் பண்ணுறது, அதாவது வைல்டு கலெக்ஷன் பண்ணுற மீனுக்கும் நாங்கள் வந்து ஃபார்மிங் பண்ணுற மீனுக்கும் ரெண்டுக்கும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் இருக்குது. அதாவது வந்து எங்களுக்கு ப்ரைஸ்லி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ரொம்ப அதிக டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் இருக்குது. அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் வந்து இதை வாங்குறதுக்கு வந்து கம்பெனிஸ் வந்து அதிகமாக முன்வரவும் மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. அதுக்கான வந்து பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் இங்கே இருந்தால் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எங்களுக்கு வந்து என்கரேஜிங்காக இருக்கும். அதுக்கடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நம்ம வந்து இப்போ வந்து கேஜில் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எடுத்தோன்னா அந்த வலையில் உள்ள பாசி ப்ளஸ் வந்து அந்த பர்னகிள்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் வந்து அதிகமாக வந்து நம்மளை வந்து டிசீஸ்க்கான ப்ராப்ளமாக இருக்குது. இதை வந்து க்ளீன் பண்ணுறதுக்கு வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப ஒரு பெரிய கஷ்டமான சவாலாக இருக்குது. இதுக்கு வந்து அதிகமாக வந்து ஸ்கூபா டைவர்ஸ் ப்ளஸ் வந்து அதுக்கு சம்மந்தப்பட்ட ட்ரைனிங்ஸ் இதெல்லாம் இருந்துச்சுன்னா எங்களுக்கு இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எஃபெக்டிவாக இருக்கும். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் நம்ம வந்து அந்த முறை வந்து இன்னும் சுலபமா இருந்துச்சுன்னா நாங்க வந்து மேற்கொண்டு வந்து இதை வந்து மேம்படுத்தி கொண்டு போக முடியும். அதுக்கடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எங்களோட வந்து இப்போ வந்து கேஜ் வந்து ஒரு இடத்துல டிப்ளாய்மெண்ட் பண்ணப்பட்டு சப்போஸ் அது ஒரு 6 மந்த்துக்கு ஒன் டைம் வந்து அந்த வாட்டர் வந்து கொஞ்சம் மாறுபடுது. அதனால வந்து எங்களால் வந்து கேஜ் வந்து அதாவது கேஜ் கல்ச்சர் வந்து கண்டினியூஸாக எங்களால் பண்ண முடிய மாட்டேங்குது. ஸோ இதில் உள்ள ப்ராப்ளங்களை வந்து ஒரு 6 மாதத்துக்கு ஒரு வாட்டியோ இல்லை 3 மாதத்துக்கு ஒரு வாட்டியோ இந்த வாட்டர் பொல்யூஷன் இதெல்லாம் வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து எப்படி இருக்கு எல்லாத்தையும் வந்து சடனாக வந்து எங்களுக்கு வந்து ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி அதை இது பண்ணீங்கன்னா டேட்டாவாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா நாங்கள் அதை முறையாக வந்து நாங்கள் திருப்பி வந்து இந்த கேஜ் கல்ச்சர் வந்து கண்டினியூஸாக பண்ண முடியும் சார். அதுக்கடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் இந்த கேஜ் கல்ச்சரை வந்து இன்னும் வந்து எங்களோட ஃபிஷர்மேன் வந்து ஃபேமிலிக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக நாங்கள் இது வந்து அதிகப்படியான மக்கள் வந்து இன்வால்வ் படுத்துறதுக்கு வந்து நீங்க கொடுக்குற வந்து சப்சிடி லோன்ஸ் அது வந்து முறையான எல்லா ஸ்கீம்களும் அது முறைப்படியாகவும் ப்ளஸ் வந்து அது சுலபமா வந்து எங்க ஃபிஷர்மேன் ஃபேமிலி எல்லா மக்களும் வந்து பயன்படுற வகையில ஒரு சிஸ்டமா இருந்துச்சுன்னா இது எங்க ஃபிஷர்மேன் ஃபேமிலிக்கு இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் வந்து ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும் சார். அதுக்கு மாதிரி சார் சொன்ன மாதிரி வந்து முறையா இன்சூரன்ஸ் அதோட டிசாஸ்டர்ல உள்ள இதெல்லாம் வந்து இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் எங்களுக்கு வந்து பெனிஃபிட்டை வந்து இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணி தரேன் சார். அதனால வந்து எங்களோட ஃபிஷர்மேன் வந்து இன்னும் வந்து இதில் அதிகப்படியான வந்து மீன் கூண்டு போட்டு இந்த ஏரியா ஃபுல்லாமே எங்களால் வளர்க்க முடியும். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் வந்து இது வந்து இந்த கேட்ச்க்கு போடுற இடத்துல வந்து ஒரு ப்ரொடெக்டட் ஜோன் அந்த மாதிரி எங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு அமைப்பு இருந்துச்சுன்னா அந்த இடத்துல வந்து நாங்கள் வந்து ரொம்ப தைரியமாகவும் எங்கள் மீன் கூண்டுகளை போட்டு ரொம்ப செக்யூராக வந்து நாங்கள் வந்து முறைப்படி நாங்கள் அது வளர்த்துக்கிட்டே இருக்க முடியுது. இல்லைன்னா வந்து அதிகப்படியான ஃபிஷர்மேன்ஸ் ப்ளஸ் வந்து ட்ராலர் நெட்ஸ் இவங்கெல்லாம் அதிகமாக வந்து அதை டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணுறதுனால எங்களால் வந்து கேஜ் கல்ச்சர் வந்து திருப்பி முறையாக வந்து பண்ண முடியாமல் ஒரு நிலைமை வந்து எங்களுக்கு தள்ளப்படுது சார். இதுக்கு அடுத்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எங்களோட வந்து கடைசியாக வந்து இந்த ஹார்வெஸ்டிங்கில் தான் எங்களுக்கு இருக்கிறதுலே மேஜர் ப்ராப்ளம். ஏற்கனவே நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி கம்பெனிஸ் வந்து அதிகமாக இல்லாதனால நாங்கள் வந்து இதை வந்து ஒரு முறையாக வந்து அதை விற்கவும் எங்களால் முடிய மாட்டேங்குது. ப்ளஸ் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எடுத்தோன்னு சொன்ன மாதிரி அந்த சீடு வந்து சர்வைவல் ரேட் ப்ளஸ் வந்து க்ரோவிங் ரேட் அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து ஹை ப்ரைஸ் இந்த மாதிரி எது இருந்துச்சுன்னா எங்களால் வந்து மேற்கொண்டு எங்களால் வந்து இந்த கேஜ் கலர் முறையாக செய்ய முடியும் சார். இது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் நாங்கள் இப்போ தொடர்ந்து வந்து என்ஐஓடியோட சப்போர்ட்டில் வந்து நாங்கள் இப்போ இன்னும் கேஜ் போட்டு நாங்கள் ஆல்ரெடி பண்ணிக்கிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம். இன்னும் நாங்கள் வந்து இதை இன்னும் ஃபர்தராக டெவலப் பண்ணுறதுக்கு வந்து எங்கள் ஃபிஷர்மேன் கேண்டிடேட்ஸ்க்கு வந்து முறையாக ட்ரைனிங் ப்ளஸ் வந்து ஸ்கூபா இந்த மாதிரி வந்து ஸ்கில்டு ட்ரைனிங்ஸ் எல்லாமே இருந்துச்சுன்னா இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் நாங்கள் இதை வந்து எஃபெக்டிவாகவும் ரொம்ப அருமையாகவும் எங்களால் பண்ண முடியும் சார். மற்றும் இந்த வாய்ப்பளித்த அனைத்து சார்களுக்கும் மற்றும் வந்து என்ஐஓடி நிறுவனத்துக்கும் என்னோட மனப்பூர்வமான நன்றியை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன். தேங்க் டு ஆல்.
Thank you, Ajit Kumar. Thanks for your neat and clean your presentation. You are expressing all your experiences. Thank you very much, Ajit. All your requests will be and solutions will be delivered. Thank you.
Thanks.
During this session.
Thank you. Now this session is closed. Now we will go for the next section of scientific input and panel discussion. In this, we have limited time, another half an hour to 40 minutes we can take. So accordingly, all the experts, you may give your suggestions. First of all, I would like to call Dr. Kribagaran, our former group head and present consultant in our deep ocean mission of NIOT. So first I would like to tell you all that Dr. Kribagaran was actually instrumental in developing this marine biotechnology group in our NIOT. After that, he has carried out or directed many of us for doing this cage culture, and he was actually involved in visiting all the places for doing the cage culture. And also the Dharni has given an excellent presentation. He has shown all the cage culture activities which was mostly done during his tenure. After that, we are continuing the same thing, myself and Dharni and our colleagues Sandana Kumar and all this thing, with guidance from Kribagaran sir. We are continuing the activity. Sir, I would like to call you and give your suggestions, please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vineet. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Dharani also in very elaborately bringing out all the activities, what is under the cage culture and all the technicalities, problems associated. So it makes my observation very simple. So what I am observing here, there are 8 important components what should be addressed. One is design, fabrication, assembling and deployment of cages.
mainly on offshore. Here I want to mention, Mr. Santana Krishnan rightly pointed out, we should have the discrimination of our work. One is coastal-based cages and offshore-based, which was nicely pointed out, because these two are major issues for further planning for our ongoing works. And second is brooded development, which is also should be addressed, and the seed production is the third aspect, and the feed production is the fourth, and the disease management is the fifth aspect, and the supply chain management is going to be another issues to be tackled, which we have not worked upon any of this particular issue. And also it was discussed insurance policy, and the eighth one is the last one, national mariculture policy implementation. So coming to the first cage design, fabrication, assembly, this offshore, we are far away. So offshore platforms is the important aspect what we should take immediately. The offshore platform which will increase our production and also reduce the cost of management. So it will bring a lot of profit for the cage culture system, because all our cages are dynamic, because it has been demonstrated in three different environments, like a semi-protected, fully protected, and open seas. Even it has withstood the cyclonic conditions with the stock. When we have that type of dynamic cages, we can increase the diameter and increase the productivity, keeping all the necessary tools for engineering aspect to manage in the offshore platforms. It will be very much helpful, where NIOT now, they have to go and establish the offshore platform, and accordingly they can plan for increasing the productivity. And next thing is brooded development. What we have, we very often speak with only the species like sea bass, cobia, papados, etc. But there are hundreds of species which can be exploited. Each and every, we cannot work on, because each and every species, their breeding mechanism, gonadal maturation, and etc. They are all through the environmental cues. We cannot take it. Today, if we see any hormonal manipulation, we have only Ovaprim or LHRH analog in the market. But are they really? Because the hormones can be differentiated into peptide hormone, steroid hormone, and neuropeptides. Each and every thing is controlled by pineal gland and hypothalamic level. So for increasing the productivity, we have to also simultaneously explore more number of species. We are working for 1 million metric production using just 1% of our EEZ. To achieve all those things, we have to increase the number of species as per their hormonal milieu. Then the seed production. Seed production is also parallelly and important, because we have a lot of experience on the coastal hatcheries, which are all coastal based. Are we in a position to take, just when they are coming for the pelleted feed, consuming the pelleted feed, we can immediately shift them to the grow out species using the nursery cages. We can increase, because it is also our experience. We could achieve 90% of the survival of some species during our culture activities. Of course, the feed production is another aspect. Now the many industries, they are coming up. Once we increase our production capacity, they will be in a position to increase the feed. They will be increased. They will be ready to reduce the cost, because when they are going to increase the production capacity, automatically they can offer at lower prices. It will happen automatically, because this thing should the production should be increased. That should be our major achievement, to bring down the cost of feed production in the country. Then disease management. We have experienced the disease. For example, our experience with the shrimp culture is so vast, because we have not followed a lot of environmental issues. We have not addressed. Everything is basically of our own mistakes, which should not happen here. So far in the offshore conditions and semi-protected area, we could not encounter any disease. Only in Rameshwaram, where the coastal water is more polluted and hatcheries are releasing the water, pumping the water outside, then this problem arises. So what we should not think about using a lot of antibiotics or developing the vaccine, etc., etc. Let us see the actual carrying capacity of that particular system where we are developing, and not to increase anything furthermore in a very greedy manner. Then only our technology and also the protection will be perfect, and it can work at any point of time. Coming to supply chain management is another aspect, because we have to stock the seeds as per the requirement of the market needs. When we think about this, you plan for certain festival or certain demanding period, season. Accordingly, you produce, take the brooders and produce the seed and stock it and grow it and then harvest it and process it and make storage facility and transportation facility to reach the retail outlet in time as per the demand. This is another gray area where we have to work a lot. And coming to insurance and policy, when our technology is becoming more consistent, any insurance company will take over and they can offer, because if we don't have the consistency of protection, and we have the if we don't have the perfected technology, nobody, because when the risk is increased, insurance company will not come forward and help us. So this is again at the hands of the scientists. We have to address this issue. And the last aspect is the national mariculture policy. This is almost CMFRA has taken a leading role and submitted a policy to the government. But here the national, all stakeholders should meet again and again, compromise at certain points wherever there are issues. We have to make a memorandum of understanding, and with that understanding, now we should approach the government to implement that is agreeable to all. So with this type of approaches, all the organization, including the CMFRA, SIBA, RGCA, and NIOT, and Fishermen Association in the country, and of course the various departments, state departments, fisheries state departments of the coastal areas, all they have to uniformly go for a mutual understanding for making the MOU and request the government to implement at the earliest. These are my observations, and thank you for your listening. Thank you once again for inviting me to participate in this meet.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving a wonderful listing of activities we need to carry out for developing open sea cage culture. Next, we would like to call Dr. Abdul Nasser, who is principal investigator, principal scientist in ICR CMFRA. He is also a former colleague of NIOT. He was officer in charge at Andaman Center. Then 2008, he has moved to NIOT. From there, he has moved to CMFRA, and he has done a lot of experience. He has gained in culturing cobia and other species. Sir, we request you to give your suggestion.
Thank you, Dr. Vinit. Good afternoon, everybody. So it was nice. It was indeed a nice discussion. Excellent thoughts were brought out, and I also was expecting such an event. Thanks for NIOT for organizing such a very nice event. With regard for coming to the suggestions, most of the suggestions made by all the people are very good, excellent, nice. Yes, with regard to the cages, the suggestions given by, the classifications for put forward by Dr. Sandana Kumar is very good. That I was also telling the same thing for long. We are working on the coastal cages now. We are not yet matured and gone to the offshore cages. Maybe thanks to NAOT is taking the steps. Yes, we were promoting the 6-meter cages only for coastal area farming. Yes, we cannot go for use the same thing in the offshore cages and make a profit. It's not possible. Yes, I do agree. Now we are also having 10-meter cages, 10-meter cages in Mandapam also. Thanks to Dr. Mr. Ramana has supplied those cages and performing very good, excellent. And Pulkit also has given so many cages to us. All are very good. What I would like to say is cage fabrication technology has matured in our country. No issues at all. What is now most important is even mooring technology is also NAOT is there in our country, no issues. Now, what is most important? Like most of the people said, seed. Seed is the most important criteria for propagation of the cage farming in our country. Now, people should make on their own. Now, most of the cage farming ventures, if you see, mostly sponsored by NFDB or supported by CMFRI or sponsored by NAOT. Like that, only cage farming activities are mostly. What I would like to suggest is they have to come on their own and take up the cage farming. Many people should come on their own and take up the cage farming. Then only cage farming can be termed as a successful enterprise. Then that will come only when the seed is available in plenty, in good numbers, at required time and required quality and required period. Then only this cage farming will progress. I was part of the leading group of the cobia seed production, and I did pampano production, seed production, all that. But we have a lot of internal issues like manpower, fund, and all that. Sneha, Miss Sneha, can you switch off your? So, with all that internal issues, we are not able to produce in large quantities. Miss Sneha, can you mute your mic? So the seed now, if you see with all these internal issues, we are not able to move forward as all expected by the industry. Definitely, we are moving forward. With all these issues, we gave the technical support to MSR Archery to Kakinada, and they are producing. Last year, they sold 3.5 million of sea bass, more than 4 million of Pampano seeds. And they are also willing to take up the cobia with our support. So one hatchery has come up, one commercial hatchery has come up now. But it's not enough. So many hatcheries should come up in our country. Then only the cage farming will be getting a shot in their hand, and it will be able to progress well. Again, there is one problem is what is now required between the cage farming and seed production is nursery. We need to have nursery seed banks at strategically location places. Then only the cage farming will be able to get the seeds from the cage nearby seed banks, and they will be able to do it progress with the cage farming. Why I am telling is this is important for both the cobia and pampano and all other species. The hatchery cannot grow the seeds up to 60 grams and all that. It's not possible at all. Hatchery is very limited space is there, especially same for a facility or forthcoming NAOT facility. We will not be able to grow up to 60 gram in our facility and give a supply to the farmers. It's not possible in good numbers. We need to have seed banks, either land-based facility or sea-based facility. Primarily, I request NAOT also to come forward and maintain this kind of seed cages. Then nursery cages. Then it can be supplied to the actual farmers. Then what will happen is the farmers will be able to farm only for a shorter period of 4 months, 5 months, and they will be able to harvest the benefit. And they will be able to do the cage farming at least twice in a year. Otherwise, what will happen is from 2 grams, 3 gram size, up to marketable size for the whole 1 year. Even during the November rain calamity, they are going through that, and people are doing a lot of emergency harvest, and seeds are available, and all the more seeds are not available. So these are all disheartening points in the cage farming activity. So what is now required is, now cage fabrication is, as I told, it is mature. Seed production, now we all have to concentrate either supporting the entrepreneurs or through our own facility. We need to provide, you have to ensure that a required number of seeds are available to the farmers at required time in required quantity. Otherwise, this cage farming is going to be a problem only. It is not going to see the development what we all of us are talking about. So with the then feed, with coming to the feed, yes, feed technology, now 2 industries are there, 2 companies are already. Mr. Dinesh Shankar, can you mute it? So with regard to the feed, yes, there are 2 agencies are available now. One is Growell. Now Scarcity also has come. The locally Chennai-based Dr. Suresh has come out with some feed production now in India. It's in Chennai itself. Yes, to an extent we'll be able to manage with the feed now at present. So, Semaphore is also is working with some companies to bring out some feeds. It has not come to a production level. They are already doing it. Now, what is required is seed. The first and foremost thing is seed. We all have to join together and may ensure that seeds of required species is available in good numbers. I really thank Dr. Kripagaran for talking about the bull stock development and all that. Yes, but I can tell you one thing. Whatever species now we have in hand, we have to go for the production and farming and capitalization. Otherwise, we cannot know more number of species also at this point of time is not required. With available species, we will go ahead. We have to produce the seeds and we'll go ahead with farming and capitalization. Then all the other varieties of groupers, hybrids, everything will follow suit. And slowly people will have a lot of varieties in the market to choose. This month I will go for grouper hybrid because I know after 5 months there will be a very good market for that. This time I will go for CBOS because definitely there will be a very good market. New Year celebrations are coming, or Christmas celebrations are coming, or only when there is a lot of production is there, even exporters will come to our rescue. Otherwise, all of us need to talk only like this forever. So thank you so much for the opportunity given to me. Thank you, NIOT.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir, Abdul Nasser, sir. Actually, you have really touched upon a important issue of seed production. In this, as you suggested, that only very few through institute or very few hatcheries are producing the seeds, even though we have 5-6 technologies available for 5-6 species, we are not producing that much seeds through hatchery. So it is necessary to develop hatcheries in every state, either by support from NFTB or through government or by private institution. That part you have very much emphasized. Now I would like to call our again former colleague Dr. T. Sendil Murugan, Principal Scientist from Central Institute of Brackish-Water Aquaculture, to give his suggestions on this particular topic. Sir, your mic is mute, please.
Mic, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vinit. I'm having a really happy. I'm happy to see all the leading cage culture and hatchery industrialists at one point. With your permission, before entering my scientific inputs for this meeting, Can I share 2 slides?
Yeah, definitely, sir.
Yeah, to show that our SIBA's latest contribution on the coastal cage designing and deployment. Is it visible?
Visible, you remove that.
Yeah. That I will remove it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is the latest our cage. This is a coastal cage we deployed in Pulicat. It's a hybrid cage actually, FRP and STP. Because most of the people talk correctly, including Mr. Sandana Krishnan and Ramana Reddy and Zia Bhatt, about having a 6-meter dia cages for nearshore sites and more than that of diameter for the offshore sites. So we are dealing with mostly that below poverty people, coastal community or SCSP, that in that scheme only we are operating the cage culture. So we selected only 6-meter only. Other benefits also there for 6-meter for the coastal community people. This just I want to share that. So this is a 6-meter dia. This process of deployment, including the beneficiaries, human beneficiaries. Stop sharing. Yeah, coming to the point, that total cost for that 6-meter dia cage, including the STP to outer and inner collars, 50 numbers of stanchions, including the mooring and inner and outer cages, cage bags, it came around 2.08 or 2.1 lakhs only. Still further that cost can be reduced because based upon that static load, we have given the FRP stanchion more numbers only, 15 numbers. That is not required by the calculation. 12 or 9 to 12 are enough. So still 30 to 35,000 we can bring down the cost. So it will be a beginning for that any coastal community development programs of ICR institutes. So coming to the next today's point, most of the people felt about scarcity of the seed production. Now, for your information, that is true. Without seed and feed, cage development is not at all there. It will not go. It will not progress further. That is true. But adequate steps are being taken by ICR institutes, especially our SIBA, for a particular species, SIBA itself. After some 2-3 years infrastructure development, we could be able to get the more than 2.1 million seeds in the last quarter itself. That is off season. So if you calculate for a year, it will be around 9 to 10 million. So, but it's not enough. It will further. We will be progressing on developing the seed quantum. So another thing I want to share through our SIBA MOU, that Canara Hatchery, already owner was talking, he is here only in Kumta in Karnataka state. We have developed and almost they also more than us, they would supplied that to 4-inch fingerlings. That's a good sign of progress. So under our SCSP program, especially, we are planning to develop, already started, initiated in many places, at least 4 or 5 places in Tamil Nadu and 2 or 3 places in Karnataka. We are going to establish nursery banks, nursery sites. So from there, pre-grow facility also will be developed under the same SSP scheme. So the plans are there, all the steps are being taken. So within another maximum 4 to 5 years, that seed scarcity problem will not be there, I feel. So other than that, it is sure anybody can take that coastal cage culture, but NIOT only can take the offshore because they only have their engineering input and engineering experience. That is sure. Yeah. Now we are running late. With this, I will conclude.
Thank you, Sendil sir, for giving this wonderful developments which is being done by SIBA. And you are also assuring that that after a few years we'll have enough seeds. So
Yeah, almost other than SIBAs, one interference. Other than SIBAs, now we are working on almost 9 to 11 species, including 2 or 3 SIBRIMs, and 3 technologies were developed, breeding technologies, but only for milkfish, that seed production is nearing 1 million per year. That also within another 2-3 years, it will be upscaled. For mullet and red snapper, we are progressing slowly. But snapper also compared with the last year survival. Now these 2 batches we are getting good survival. So other than that, another 9 to 11 species we are working in our 3 centers in headquarters in Chennai, Kagdip, and NGRC in Gujarat. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Even I happened to hear one of the presentation from CMFRI during last week on review meeting regarding the snapper species, which they have almost developed a technology.
That is Lujanus Jani. Ours is Lujanus argentimaculatus.
Yes. Similarly, that we are also having so many species now. Technology is being developed, but the thing is, we don't have hatcheries, so many hatcheries to take up these technologies and develop the seeds for the people.
It will come, because we made operated one hatchery in Karnataka, Kumta. 3 MOUs we signed. Almost 90% of the works were completed in Andhra. 1 year Nellore, another year.
Yeah, so that's what we are saying, sir. There should be so many hatcheries so that people can opt for different species. If one species is not available, if they are having the open sea cage culture that systems, they can go for other species. Okay, sir. Next we can go for the talk suggestion from Dr. Dinesh Sandar, Principal Scientific Officer from RGCA. Dr. Dinesh?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Is it audible?
Yes, audible. You can, if you have video, please switch on your video.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you, if you possibly can share the presentation from my side?
Yeah. Quickly, you can give your views. Already we are running short of time. Okay, please, sir.
No audio.
Sir.
Ganesh, your audio is not good.
You can unshare your video and use audio.
Okay. Hello.
You are audible, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, sir. I could not able to share the presentation from my side, sir. some problem in the.
You can share
You
your
can tell
viewpoints.
your views. You can tell your views if the presentation is not visible. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Actually, sir, I would like to share the experience. Sir, we have developed technology for the groupers and also cage culture technology. So,
Sir, I hope you unshare your this one. You only put your audio and stop the video, everything, so that we can hear you. Dr. Dinesh? We are unable to hear you.
sir, can you?
So you can stop the
Hello,
video.
sir.
You can talk. You can talk. You can talk this because of this one. It is because of speed limit. Please give your
Yes,
suggestion
yes, sir.
quickly.
Okay, sir. Actually, we did the cage culture in Andamans for groupers. So we developed a technology, hatchery technology for especially for the tiger groupers, and we put a HTP cage of a 3 meter size, about 21 cages, and about 3,000 grouper size, and produce nearly about 3 tons of groupers. But you know that groupers faces high in live market in live. But from Andaman, it is very difficult. We could not able to sell the form, and even though we have maintained the broods long time till 2021, 2020, sorry, 2020, we maintained the brood stock in the cages. But due to some other issues, and we are not able to continue the project with shelf. But we have the technology for the groupers, hatchery technology for the groupers, as well as cage culture technology for the grouper farming in open sea. So since I could not able to share my presentation, so I could not able to explain clearly. But anyhow, sir, in the Andaman is the best place. We have a lot of protected base, very excellently suitable for cage culture. Also sea bass and other species. But in RGCA, we have at present we only one place we are doing the cage culture, that is at Muttam, near to Kerala, and where we are doing a sea bass as well as cobia. Andaman at present we have shelved the project due to some other administrative reasons. And but we are planned to restart again once the live export market opens up, especially the airport opens up. We'll start again, sir. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to participate in the platform.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Dharani sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have
Kumar,
actually visited your site, and also we have seen, and you could able to produce good number of this grouper seeds. Yes, it has a lot of live fish exporting is done. Then it is having a market in this thing. Andaman is now developing into a very big that air terminal, all these things. So this government is developing a lot of infrastructures in that. I hope you have a lot of possibilities for live export of these groupers. Hope we will do so. Now I would like to call.
Okay.
Now I would like to call Dr. Anthony Xavier for giving the his views on Director Coastal Aquatic Authority for giving his views on this today's topic. Please, sir.
Good morning or good afternoon to the elite forum here. And first of all, I register my gratitude and I also thank the organizers for the opportunity. Indeed, it is an important topic that we are touching upon today, which is cage culture, which is an area where we are supposed to have a lot of scope for expansion and exploration. When I say exploration, all we know is that cage culture is an activity which can be possible or feasible in protected bays. But there are countries which are taking up this activity in the open sea also, where the sea is calm. In our case, our Indian Ocean, both in terms of Arabian Sea or in terms of Bay of Bengal, our open sea is having an intense fishing activity, as well as the sea is considered as comparatively rough. So further, the depth of the sea is also very high. So in terms of the installation of the cages, I am made to understand that NIOT has technology, and some technology to have cage culture in open sea. Still, I have my own doubt. How are we going to progress on that part? That is point number one. Point number two is the policy vacuum. As on date, there is no policy for utilizing our maritime areas for cage culture. When I say this, we need a statutory backing for undertaking such activity. Otherwise, we will end up in a conflict and damage of the ecosystem, and there are a lot of other issues will crop up. Further, if these activities are confined to the government or government institutions, we still have a very limited scope to expand or harness the potential which is actually available. Unless there is a private intervention, unless there is a private participation, the open sea mariculture will remain a research activity or an activity which is under exploration. So, to allow a private participation in this sector, we all need a statutory backup or provisions for, leasing, or I don't know. We need to find out a statutory backup so that this open sea mariculture can be availed or utilized by the private entrepreneurs. Okay. The other point is that in the coastal areas, as of now, with the existing Act of Coastal Aquaculture Authority, any activity within the CRZ, meaning within the 200 meters from the sea high tide line, and within the rivers, creeks, and backwaters is a banned activity. There is a blanket ban on these activities. So I'm sorry to say that the activities, whatever we are undertaking as on date, either on the creeks or rivers or on the within the 12 nautical miles from the coast, with the 2000 notification, the 2011 and 19 notification classifying territorial waters as a part of CRZ, it is a banned activity. by God's grace, this time we are hope many of these stakeholders here must have seen the amendments that we are proposing in this Coastal Aquaculture Authority Act, wherein we carefully, mindfully proposed an amendment to exempt seaweed culture and cage culture from this activity, from this act. I mean, meaning from this ban, basically, not from this act, from this ban, which is already in existence. So that may bring out, if this goes through, that may bring out some clarity for us to undertake this activity on the coast, whatever we are right now doing. But when I say so, I still like to make a note that your open sea and the coastal areas have to be mapped to identify the potential areas. In many of my interactions with Dr. Dharini sir from NIOT, I was made to understand that we have done the mapping, but unless otherwise it is approved by the concerned government or by the central government and notified, taking it further will be another task. It will remain in silos. It will remain in your papers. So my humble submission to this forum is that we to undertake a sustainable activity, to undertake a sustainable cage culture activity, we need to identify the areas. If at all it was identified, kindly move on appropriate proposals through appropriate governments or bodies to get them notified and make it available in the public so that people know where there are areas available for this activity and they will come forward to undertake this activity. When we address this issue, then comes the issue of your seed and nursery. The candidate species today, you name either sea bass, you name either cobia, you name grouper, you name any species for that matter. All I could understand is that all of us, including SIBA, including RGCA, in NIOT, those who are all working on this breeding programs are working in silos. We don't have a synergy or synchronization of our activities to maximize our effort. We are repeating an effort of another institution and wasting our time. And we are also repeating or reinventing the technologies which are already available elsewhere in the world. I made to understand that sea bass is bred like a child, like a tilapia. Whereas in India, sea bass breeding is a rocket science. It is, I think, sea bass is being handled by SIBA and RGCA for the last decade, if I am not wrong. But today we are.
Sir, I object, sir. I object. You don't know the science, I think. You continue.
Say again, sir. Say again, sir. You said something.
No, you continue.
No, you said something.
Actually, breeding can be done by a child. You are the first person in the world.
No.
Okay,
I think you should understand what I said. It is bred like a tilapia. When it is not a
freshwater. Freshwater reproductive biology is different from brackish water.
Sir, I am not trying to.
You continue. I don't want to waste this forum time.
Mr. Sendil, please mindful of your words.
Okay.
Please mindful of your words when you are talking about science to me.
I
said it is as easy as tilapia. My intention is to say that it is as easy as tilapia. Whereas this sea bass breeding has been projected as a rocket science. We are taking pride in saying.
Sendil, please keep quiet.
Yeah.
Sendil, please keep quiet.
Anthony sir, you please proceed, sir.
Today, we are taking pride in saying having 2 private hatcheries to produce sea bass as a pride. Whereas in elsewhere in the world, either in Southeast Asia or in Europe, it is done like a backyard business. So my suggestion to the forum is that it is not to criticize anybody. It is not to criticize any institution. My suggestion to the forum is that we need technologies which are adoptable and scalable. We need technologies which are adaptable and scalable. We don't have, see, shrimp production was like this in the beginning. There were 2 hatcheries done by the same RGCA as the Task Park and Host Park. Today we have 400 hatcheries in India. It did not come out from the, it is not, it didn't grow as long as it was with this, our government sector. It grew when it was given to the private sector. Similarly, we need technologies for which are adaptable and scalable. The other issue is that in terms of the nursery production, we when we are struggling with the seeds, we are still struggling with the nursery also. So we need an intermediate interface, which I think many of the speakers have spoken. My submission is to the forum is that we need a working paper, or we need some kind of a document which should identify all our weaknesses, and we should address that issues. Unless otherwise we do that, we still, as Nasser sir said, as somebody else said, we still will be in this talking stage. We need to take it forward and take it further, so that for which we need a document in place which clearly understand and addresses the issues of this particular sector. On the feed side, we are still, though there are a few feed companies which are working on it, the feedback which I get from these feed companies is that we are not allowing them to do the trials in the commercial or in our institutions. Probably we should engage the scientific institutions. We may have to engage with this private feed manufacturers to have their trials done to develop an efficient feed which is otherwise available elsewhere in the world, so that we become more self-reliant in terms of our country. And without this feed, which is developed from our domestic producers, the cost is going to go up, and our production cost is, will still remain at the highest level. So I think I touched upon all the major issues that I wanted to talk. I'm sorry if I had made any comment which is not warranted here, or which had
no issues, sir.
which hurt anybody's feeling. But
No
that is
issues,
my
sir.
take on this particular topic. And I'm sorry, and my apologies for having said something if at all if anybody felt it is unwarranted. And I would like to clarify also that my intention of saying that the word like tilapia, it is not to refer. I know I think I have more than 20, 30 years of experience in this field, and we worked hands-on this field. And many of the stakeholders who are working on the field knows what experience I have. So I will not be saying a blunter of breeding like tilapia or a child for breeding a marine species. But when I said the breeding of sea bass is done like tilapia in elsewhere in the country, whereas we are still saying that it is a rocket science. So from my side, that's all. And thank you, Vinit sir and Dharani sir and all the rest of the team which is hosting this program for this great opportunity. And thank you one and all.
Sir, thank you very much for giving your suggestions. For touching up on many of the aspects. Now actually many of our people really hard working in marine species and understanding its science, and whenever they are facing these problems, they are trying to rectify those problems and bringing out the technology. But the thing is, it is not easily transmitting to the private people because of other issues, not because of the scientific this one. Even though technologies are available, it is because of the financial and many other issues, land leasing policies, and there are not even in Andaman we are not having proper land. Even though we have our land, in that we can culture, but we require many other lands. Similar issues are available. It is because of those things the technologies are not being taken to other issues. That's why we need some policies, all these things. So institutes are having a lot of technologies. So now I would like to call Mr. G. Amaladevan from Andaman Fisheries Department. Mr. Amaladevan. Mr. Amaladevan.
Sir, he is getting trouble in getting connection, so we can move forward.
Okay, we can now call Mr. V. Lamak Jayakumar, Deputy Director, Director of Fisheries Welfare, Government of Tamil Nadu. Sir?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
To all, I thank NIOT for giving me the opportunity to deliver my suggestions in the forum. First of all, I would like to give some introduction to the Tamil Nadu position on cage farming. With regard to the Tamil Nadu coast, it is extended up to 1,076 kilometers. It is one of the great coastal area. But in the Park Bay region, we have some problem in fishing, especially with Sri Lankan issues and more pressure in inshore areas. For that, the government is moving forward to take some alternative professions like seaweed farming, cage farming, and sea ranching programs. In this direction, government is moving and implementing a lot of schemes, especially in Park Bay region and Gulf of Mannar region. In the for the past 5 to 6 years, we have distributed more than 430 open sea cages to fisher folk to get them involved in the cage farming for also a better livelihood. But based on our analysis and the input received from the cage farming sector and farmers' information, farming technology is improved, but some of the bottlenecks are giving feedback. Mainly, there are a lot of issues involved in cage farming because only we supplied more than 430 cages. As on date, only 40 to 30% of the people are only involved in cage farming. There are a lot of reasons in this aspect. But I think the technology package given to the farmers is somewhat lacking behind. Mainly the seed supply issues and site selections, cage design, feed technology, and best management practices. All these things, the technology package given to the farmers are somewhat not better. So I would like to request to the pioneer institutes who are involved in the cage technology, especially CMFRI, SIBA, RGCA, NIOT, to give a clear and perfect technology to improve their livelihood. Also, I would like to refer that most of the farmers who are holding that cage are not in economically viable position. The financial aspects also somewhat low. So, how many cages a person should need for better employment and getting good revenues also be analyzed in that aspect. So I request CMFRI, SIBA, and RGCA, NIOT to coordinate the cage culture program and clear the bottlenecks and provide better technical solutions so that coastal states can move forward in right direction to develop the cage farming. I also further request the concerned institute to give to form a coordination committee, because all the institutions, pioneer institutions like NIOT, SIBA, CMFRI, and that RGCA is headquartered in Tamil Nadu. You can support us to improve this program further and also deliver this technology to the fisher folk, especially for the fisher folk, in a better way. I further request to coordinate with the state government and give your good technology package and suggestions and recommendations. For that, I hope institutions will give a regular meeting will also be conducted in this direction, and we will also form a coordination committee with institutions so that we will get a clear picture on this move. Also, once again, I request the NIOT, according to a statement, there are about 12,137 square kilometer of potential area and available for community level improvement of cage farming, and also 840 square kilometer of area commercial level. It is a very huge potential for Tamil Nadu. I thank the NIOT for surveying this land area, this open sea area. But in micro level, field level data we require. I request the NIOT to give micro level data in this direction so that we will also engage the farmers in a right direction to put cages in the open sea where the suitable sites are available. I thank for all the institutions for giving us to the opportunity. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving wonderful suggestions. My opinion is that technology packages are good, but that implementation sometimes having problem.
Yes, sir. I would like to intervene.
We will take up, sir.
I would like to intervene, sir, but because we are stocking around 1,000 numbers of in 6 meter dia cages. There is, according to the statement of Dr. Sir, NIOT director, we have to invest more than 16 lakhs of rupees, and the overall gross income is 22 lakh rupees. So huge investment is there. So we have to get further that fisher folk are not unable to accept subsidy. They are unable to invest such a large quantity, huge quantity of amount. 16 lakhs, you just imagine that they cannot able to afford such a large quantity of amount investment. So in this direction also, you have to work in this to reduce that cost of all the things, operational cost and installation cost, everything, feed cost, seed cost, all things should be reworked. That is why I am asking that the technology package should be revised. If you think that 48 rupees, a seed cost about 48 rupees, around 1,000 seeds, it is a 48,000 rupees. Most of the expenditure goes to the feed and seed. So there is a technology involvement in that. You have to reduce the seed cost, feed cost. Then only the farmers will get ready into involvement into the field. So cage design also plays a vital role. Cage design, because in some areas in Pulicat Lake and some backwaters, the depth of there are a lot of area available, but the depth is very reduced, very minimum depth. In some area, the tidal action is more, wave action is more. Accordingly, site-specific design should be established. Cage design should be established. It should not be equal to all. So all these things should be taken into account while giving a technology package. That's why I'm requesting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, there is no uniform technology for all the places. As you suggested, it is tailor-oriented like that. In each site, we have to develop that is cages for particular sites after doing all the surveys. That we are working out. Even all the institute they are trying to do.
We expect some designs for, especially for Pulicat Lake, because there is a huge potential for cage farming in Pulicat Lake and backwaters of some of the areas, and nearshore areas, specifically for clay backwaters, everything. For all areas, there is a specific design. So NIOT to come forward and provide us good designs for all these areas. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Before going to Dr. Thank you, sir. Before going to Tata Sudhar, sir, Dharni, you want to intervene and tell anything on these aspects?
No, Vineet. Vineet, let us complete. Let us give his.
Yeah, okay. So, so now I would like to call Dr. Tata Sudhakar, Scientist G Group at Ocean Electronics and Ocean
Vineet, what happened to Dr. Krishnan?
I think he is not attending today.
Krishnan was he was traveling. He could not able to. He was in flight now, so he said that he cannot connect.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, all of you. And I was listening to all of you from the quite long time. I think most of the points are covered. My contribution actually to this is more of a technology. I've been working with our MBT group for so many years for helping them to do the cages. All of the during the presentation, Dr. Dharni has shown the surface cages. Actually, we are in a process of making a subsurface cages about 5 meters. The first one is going to be the 5 meters, and then it is capable of mooring up to 30 meters. TV part, everything is over, and we gave it for fabrication. It has taken time. Otherwise, the plan was to do a trial before the monsoon. Now, probably after the monsoon, we will take it to the Andaman and then do it. Along with that, actually, I have a feeder, automatic feeder for that, and biomass estimation. Because it is going down, we won't be able to lift it up all the time. So we developed one biomass estimation using cameras and lasers. It actually will tell you what is the size of the fish inside, so that we can actually program how much feed we should give. So, and fortunately, the person who has developed it is a project scientist. He has applied for a hackathon in Agri Hackathon, and he won actually 1 lakh for that. So we have actually all the 3 things which is required for subsurface cages. Hopefully, we will do September, October a trial, and then will be offered to anybody who's interested. And then I listening to a lot of policy discussions happening. Yesterday, MOS secretary was here, and then he was because he came along with the Norwegian ambassador who was looking for actually new areas to work out, because in oceanography, Norway has actually helped us to put a lot of programs. Like I worked for the Data Buy program in 97 to 2002. I think it was an NORAD aid. So it has started like that, and then now we are almost self-sustained. So we can use these programs actually for startup, and then once we settle down, I think we will be able to contribute much more. So one of the things what we discussed is actually he was mentioning that blue economy paper is going to come up. So some of the policy points what all of you are discussing probably will be addressed into that, because these issues I remember Krubakaran also discussing with all of us. So probably these points are be taken care, and then if it's not there, I think we can go back and then request the government for modifying that. So some document is going to come at least for the policy points what we have discussed. The second thing actually Dr. Krubakaran started, and yesterday I was discussing with the advisors of the embassy, and to taking forward that some sort of exercise what we are supposed to do a few years back, trying to get a Norwegian technology, putting some sort of a pilot project in Andamans. So I think I spoke to director also, he's also okay with it. So we probably will take it forward, and then we will do a pilot project, and then we will involve the industries who are interested in that, so that pilot project can be taken out by NIOT and other R&D institutions who are ready to contribute. And then from there, actually industry can take over and then continue from there. Because I also feel that government should be there only at the beginning to make the beginnings, where the starting inertia will be there. So afterwards, I think industries can take it further much better than government institutions, because we work with a lot of restrictions. With this small, I think I will end it. All of us will be hungry. It's already 1:30. So it was actually very great interaction. I'm not a biologist, actually an electronic engineer. So, but I could learn a lot of things today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarvanit. Shall I take 1 minute?
Yes, Dharni, you can.
Yes, first of all, I thank all the experts and all the participants for joining this. Of course, Vinit will do formally, but today's meet is to address the issues and address the promotion policies and support the fishermen and the cage culture entrepreneurs and the industry. So to look out where are the strength, where are the weakness, and where we can contribute. Of course, it is not the institute only enabled. It is a joint effort by Ministry of Earth Science and Technology and all of the institutes, ministry, to foster this to the industry so that it can go to the industry and support the industry. That is what the aim of the meeting, and it was well taken up. And we have all the major stakeholders like industry, actual industry who are producing, and the actual fishermen and the self-help group, as well as in the fishing industry who are coming into this one, and the technological lead institute which has the know-how and technology. So the main point was there are 3 points. That is, are we having the clear-cut demarcation for the cage culture, and or we have the complete technology for nearshore and offshore cage cultures? Cage culture, and do we have enough technology for seed production, and we don't have enough seed produced in the country, and do we have the complete management systems in terms of disease and other things, as well as the harvesting, marketing, including the maintenance of the cages, and about the economics of the fish culture and policies, as well as insurance, all the major points that hasn't arrived today. Of course, there was a lot of deliberations with people, and I also take this opportunity to post the important questions to the industry, to Captain Ajit Kamal. Are we ready? Are we have enough number of technology and instruments to manufacture the requirements of all the floating component requirements which is required for the industry, from a small cage to a very large cage of 60 meter diameter, that we do have? And there, do we have any chances of reducing the cage component costs? Because the production, these are certain major cost, which is going to be an capital investment. If the cost is going to come down, this is going to be a boon for the normal common fisherman, to any entrepreneur to go inside this. So I pose this question for this industry, and as well as to Ramaya sir, as well as to Ramaya sir, for whether we have the necessary development technology for deployment, for fabrication deployment, that can be transmitted to the people immediately, so that they can go ahead with minimum support and minimal cost indigenously. And of course, Prasad sir, do we have the enough technology which is having matched to the foreign hatcheries who can produce in large scale number for production of fish? First, do we have enough kind of number of consultants who can expertise, who can advise for going for a modern hatchery to produce fishes, seeds as comparable with other people, that how to bring up this ratio, because this is also very much lacking. And of course, Suresh sir, I request him to about feed. We are having so many feed, but do we have the competent feed, like internationally renowned feed for carnivorous fish? Are we producing in India and in a comfortable rate where a fisherman can go and buy we buy for buy for shrimps? And the third is Mr. Jia Bhatt of Garware. Yes, we have Garware is one of the leader in ropes and fishing things, and I'm glad to know that they are coming with the anti-fouling resistant material itself. But still, are we having the rates of the nets and anti-fouling components in the terms of international level? And do we have the necessary production and production of knotless meshes, very specifically of different grade like nylon, polypropylene, and HDP, for spearheading these cages. And one of the main component of this net manufacturing is mending of nets required for specific dimension of cages. Though the nets are available of different grades, mending of nets in the international standards for the different size of net cages are very important. So that are we prepared and where we are standing. And of course, Pulikit Agarwal sir is said of installation of cages and preparation of cages. Yes, all these things has to be addressed. And of course, with the fishermen, already they have only doubts, and we have to support with the fisherman and the entrepreneur for developing this. And of course, all our lead scientists who are the so-called pillars of cage culture, who initiated all here. Dr. Kriban sir, who is a lead person who started, Dr. Nasser sir, Dr. Sandil Murugan, and majority of Santana Krishnan, so many number of people who initiated cage culture are here. And I request them to give the sincere input to for the promotion of this cage culture and give the inputs for the way forward to propel this activity in a large scale farming and give a recommendation to the industry. Government of India and the industry how to proceed. With this request, I request Dr. Vineet to proceed, to take the proceeding.
Dr. Dharani and Dr. Vineet, I want to say one thing.
Please, sir.
This actually, this type of meeting, nodal agencies and nodal persons should meet regularly and address each and every issues, giving the major contribution from respective organization, so that frequent meeting will bring a lot of clarity, so that we can form such a type of regular meetings to address the issues.
Sure, sir. As a part of this recommendation, we will add all the nodal agencies and the nodal contact point from the research organization, government institute, and the fishermen association and entrepreneurs, as well as the industry. Sir, we will make a point and we will have meetings.
So similar suggestion was given by Dr. Jaykumar for making a coordination committee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is similar to that.
Cage farming is picking up now. We have to form a coordination committee or a committee that look forward these projects. That is my suggestion, and also for state government's expectations.
So definitely all government institutes are in sync, and we will have together so that we can support each other activity and go ahead without repetition. And
based on my experience, I can say in freshwater, one of our colleague, Dr. Mr. Ajmer Malik, he has developed some kind of application, mobile application, or in that different institutions are different hatcheries, they can are feed producers, or farmers, they can interact in that particular mobile platform, and they can get feed, seed, or supply of seed, everything like that. It is called Manja. Similar kind of things, effort, if somebody is starting as a private entrepreneur or as institutional partnership, I think that coordination between institutions will be happening, because when the seed is produced or who is needing that, all these things we are not knowing. So that kind of things will work out on that. With that, anyway, Dr. Dharani has already summed up most of the points which were discussed today. So I will straight away go for, since time is not there, I will straight away go for vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank the this organizers of iConnect, particularly Ministry of Earth Science and Ministry of Science and Technology, and the concerned secretaries and ministries of Government of India for making this happening in India. And thank you all for their efforts. And I would like to thank, coming to our institution, our director, Dr. G. Ramadas, for coordinating with us and giving direction and suggestions for carrying out this work in because of his prior commitment. He could not attend the meeting. Anyway, we are thanking him wholeheartedly. I would like to thank Dr. Virendra M. Tiwari, Director, CSAR, National Geophysical Institute, for addressing the gathering. I also would like to thank Dr. Gopal Iyengar for his continuous support from the ministry, continuous support and suggestions from the ministry. Even though because of his busy schedule, he could not attend the meeting. I would like to thank Dr. Dharani and my colleagues Dilip and Sandana Kumar and Medlima and many other people who are actually working with us around the clock, and also each of my colleagues who is working along with us. And I would like to thank, especially thank Dr. Dr. Kirbagaran sir for guiding us as in this. And also I would like to thank Dr. Tata Sudhagar, who is actually helping today and also doing lot of technologies in open sea cage culture, and also he has led our group, our meeting today at the initial point whenever. Thank you, sir. And we have to thank individually every participants, but due to time, paucity of time, I am unable to give all the names. But individual sessions like Industrial Interaction and Hatchery and Fisheries Association and all that scientific input panel, all the members have given their input. So we have seen their presentations as well as their suggestions. It will be well taken, and we will do further into developing this cage culture in India in a better way. We all we thank on behalf of NIOT and our ministry and our group. We all thank all the presenters of all the three sessions for giving the suggestions. Thank you, sir. With this, we are concluding today's meeting. Dharni, you want to give?
Yes, Vinny. Thank you. Thank you, Vinny.
Yeah.
And
thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind.
Thank you, one and all, for participating. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Krupakaran, Dharani, Vinit.
Yes, sir.